We're laughing. We're getting in here, man. It's Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. It's your boys. All right, below me, it is Dr. X, Dr. Phil McDonald, one of the top sports medicine radiologists in America, the founder, the creator of this show. To his left on your screen, it is Canadian basketball legend Dwight Walton. Upper left, it is A.M. Pfeffer. I am Rick Kamla, and we will have Brandon Armstrong on here in a little bit. Tim Capstraw, aka the Capper, is going to join us at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Dwight has a history with him. I have a history with him. Doc and AM and B-Dot are soon to have a history with him. He is currently the radio play-by-play analyst for the Brooklyn Nets. Guys, we've got a ton to get into. Let's dive right in. We start with, of course, the Thunder's victory over the Knicks, 103-100. Thrilling game. I think John McEnroe is still standing there with that what the bleep look on his face after OG missed that three. Did you see John McEnroe, my favorite tennis player ever? He's like, we just lost. I think he's still standing there. Anyway, Brunson had the assist, but Cason Wallace took a bite out of him. Chet dominated everybody that they tried to put on him. Was it Cat? I don't know. Cat was Mitch Robinson. He was a garbage man last night. I mean that affectionately, 17 and 17, but only took 8 shots. SGA was kind of mid by his standards, but did have 26, had the dagger 3 late. And so let's get into sort of the newsy thing that came out of this game. Mike Brown got his first tech of the entire year, late first quarter, when SGA ran over Jalen Brunson. No call, layup good. And it would have been SGA's third foul. Huge no call. Mike Brown goes off, gets the tech. After the game, he said, SGA, he's a tough cover. He does a great job of convincing the referees, probably better than anybody in the league, that he is getting hit. So I will not go first here. Doc, you were in the Gardonian last night with Shalea having fun. Wish you would have gotten a better result, my friend. But let's get into this debate right here. No timer, elbow room. Get it on however you want to get it on. Should the NBA crack down on foul baiting? I don't want to just make this an SGA thing, all right? He is one of the leaders in this, but so is Jalen Brunson, so is James Harden. You could go on and on and on with guys that seek out fouls and are really, really skilled and talented at maneuvering the whistle, okay? But SGA probably is the best in the league at doing this right now. Doc, you first. Should the NBA crack down on foul baiting?
I don't like to subscribe to that foul baiting stuff. I think it's a cop out for such a great player like SGA. I feel like
Thank you.
Need to give him his flowers. When you put in everything in slow motion, he is getting fouled. So you got to call the foul. If you don't want to get the call a foul on him, just contest without touching him. And that's what you got to do. If he hits it, then you just got to shake his hand. You got to tip your hat. That's it. But to me, I don't really think we should be focused on that as Knick fans and fans in general. Allow the referees to do what they do. If you have an issue with a call, challenge it. And that's what the OKC Thunder did very successfully yesterday. They challenged a lot of calls that were overturned. I do believe that it could have been more balanced out in terms of how they called the game. I feel like all the calls were technically fair calls, but they just didn't seem like marginal and incidental contact were different at different times of the game. I don't think it was necessarily trying to favor a certain team. I just think you have 3 referees, you have 3 brains, and at some point someone's going to have a different opinion than the other. That's just the way it goes when you're dealing with human beings. So if you have an issue with it, you challenge it. But other than that, I feel like there's several issues that we could point to. All in all, I'm encouraged by the game. They at least hung in there. I just wanted to see them put up a fight, and I think that they can hang with anybody in the NBA in the 7-game series and give them a fighting chance. And that's all I expected, and that's what I saw yesterday.
Doc, I do want to follow up before I go to Dwight here. Do you believe that Karl Anthony Towns fouled SGA with about 3 minutes to go on the foul that fouled out Karl Anthony Towns? Obviously, they blew a foul on Cat at that point. Probably some Knick fans were ticked off about that. Did you think that was a legitimate foul call against Cat?
It was a foul, so they called it. I just feel like he has to do a better job with that because I mean, I don't want to get on Towns right now because he did really well yesterday. He came out of himself in terms of getting offensive rebounds and just doing stuff that I'm encouraged that once Mitchell Robinson comes back in terms of offensive rebounds, that we should be able to do that going forward. But in terms of that last play, I think at first I thought it was OG, but when I saw it on replay, it was obvious that Towns had fouled him. But previous to that, it was he put his hand in the cookie jar on another play, and there was no reason to do that. Like you're not known for stripping people like Karl Malone did back in the day. So
Right.
stop. What's the point of even doing that? So he got called for an easy foul when SGA was about to do a fadeaway right under the free throw line. So I just feel like those are little things that as a defender, you just got to know what your limitations are. You just do a contest at least and just hope for the best. That's all you can do.
It's disconcerting that Cat's like a 10-year veteran and he still does that stuff, right? And he does it in big playoff moments, and foul trouble is just a thing that haunts him. Cat, you got to be better than that, man. Dwight Walton, should the NBA crack down on foul baiting?
First of all, before I answer the question, I'm proud of you, cuz I respect the response. I think I'm rubbing off on you a little bit, but to get to my response, thank you. To get to my response, I think drawing a foul is a skill. I think people who complain about this stuff are the people that don't know how to do it. They don't understand it. I'll give you a statistic. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has drawn 332 fouls this season, 1,760 over the last 4 seasons. You can't fool the referee that many times. Drawing a foul is a skill. If you put your hand in the cookie jar the same way Karl Anthony Towns did last night, as is the case with a lot of people in the NBA, you're going to get called for a foul. I don't care how ugly it looks. If it leads to winning, I am all for it. And it seems to me, and I know you're asking a general question, but I'm going to focus on SGA for a second here. He's a trigger for coaches. We've already seen Chris Finch get thrown out of a game in the first quarter this season, and he had the same response that Mike Brown did after the game last night. We saw Mike Brown get his first technical foul for the season. I can bet you 1,000 degrees here that if Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was on Mike Brown's team or Chris Finch's team, you wouldn't hear a peep out of them. Jalen Brunson is known as being a foul baiter. He draws fouls. Mike Brown wasn't complaining about that until last night. So we have to keep it equal here. There's no such thing as foul baiting. Drawing fouls is a skill. Fans out there have to understand that. If an offensive player is great at using your momentum or your aggressiveness defensively to his advantage and to your disadvantage, more power to you. Again, officials are human, but you can't fool a referee 332 times the way SGA has this year. And in fact, he is third in the league. He's not even leading the league in drawing fouls. So we have to get away from this notion. I hate going on social media and seeing all these terms. It pisses me off, quite frankly. It's lazy. It's tired. Understand the nuances of basketball. Understand the art of drawing a foul. That's the way it is. That's the way it goes. The NBA should leave this alone. Don't touch anything. If you want to draw a foul, learn how to do it. Austin Reeves is great at it. Luka Doncic is great at it. I think that's where the issue is, because 2 of those players are Lakers doing it. That's where the issue is. And we also know the subliminal message behind that as well is because LeBron is there. It's just a reality. That's how it is. That's the way the fans think. That's the way of the world. We can't change that. Foul baiting is a tired and lazy quotation, narrative, synonym, whatever word you want to use here. It's a skill. Learn how to do it. Don't be mad because you don't know how to do it.
Ooh, strong stuff. I have a slight like rebuff on that, which I will hit you with in a minute. I largely agree with what you guys are saying, but I have a little bit of a bend on it. AM Pfeffer, should the NBA crack down on foul baiting?
No, because I think they have bigger issues to worry about off the court, right? The NBA has a long list of, call it, generalized problems than they do what's going on the court right now, because I think the NBA is in a very good place on the court. I think back to what I'm watching these last 2, 3, 4 years, and I am loving the product. Besides maybe the bottom 10 teams in the league, the top 20 teams, when they face off with each other, I can't wait every night to watch what's going on. And really the only guy that I could think of besides SGA, in terms of foul baiting, like at the height of his powers, was James Harden and his up and under move. Yeah, I hated that. And I've never actually enjoyed necessarily watching James Harden and his brand of basketball. But other than that, like, the NBA doesn't need to put yet another problem on their list, at least not one that's happening on the court. I don't think foul baiting is necessarily an issue, if even a thing at all.
AM, you look great behind that desk. I'm loving the setup. Good job, guys. Good job.
Happy here.
Indeed, holding it down in our LA studios, man. So here's sort of the slurve or the knuckle change up. I know, spring training. I see all these people down here rocking Phillies gear, and like an entire family will be in Target. They're all head to toe in Toronto Blue Jays gear because those teams have their facilities down here. People are nerding out on baseball right now down here in Florida. It's happening. I do, and I'm not mad at him, by the way. I'm a baseball nerd too. Although, guys, remember, I'll give you the update on fantasy baseball. I deleted all my teams this year. I did. I need a year off from fantasy baseball. I need a year off, guys. It's probably 28 contiguous years of playing it. Like, I need a year off, man. I need a year off. I feel so good about it too. Like, if I'm not getting the tickle, like, ooh, they're hitting, they're throwing, they're running, they're like, box scores are coming out. If I'm not getting the tickle about that, it's time to like pull the car over to the side of the road. Anyway, enough about me and my problems. To the NBA and their problems. Look, Dwight, I loved what you were saying. Drawing fouls is a skill. The art to drawing fouls, okay? And all of the other great stuff that you said. I get that, and I like 80% agree. However, I believe that it has gotten too easy to draw fouls. And I think the refs need to have a little talking to about this. All right, let's talk about the play that Mike Brown blew a gasket on. All right, this was not foul baiting. This was just a bad no call, okay? The refs knew that SGA had 2 fouls, okay? And they swallowed the whistle when he ran over Jalen Brunson, who is one of the best charge takers in the league. They know this. Yep. That's his reputation. Is he great at keeping defenders in front of him, like at the top of the key point of attack? Not really, okay? But he's good at sliding his feet, and he's strong, and he's a badass, and he's a killer, and he's willing to take that hit, okay? You heard Austin Reeves talking about there's no way I'm standing in front of Zion Williamson. I'm not mad at Austin. It's a business decision. Brunson would do that, okay? And he would get up and limp or whatever the hell it is. All right, that was just a bad call. But the refs allowing players to convince them there is contact is a problem right now. And here's why it's a problem, Dwight, Doc, AM, and everybody. It's counterintuitive to the direction of the league. Would we all agree that, let me take you back a little bit. Adam Silver made the league too soft. You guys remember this little period in time about a year and a half, 2 years ago? I was still on NBA radio at the time with Antonio Daniels. Way too easy to draw fouls and parade to the free throw line. You had guys like Trae Young driving down the right side of the lane, swerving into defenders, right? Artificially, bump, foul, off glass, good, and one. The league said, no, we're not doing that anymore, okay? You can't like change your path and go into a defender and still get the foul. But guess what? I'm not even going to mention names right now. There are several star players in our league that are still doing that. And they're the only ones that are getting away with this. If a role player does this stuff, it's a foul every time. Okay? It's only the star players. So to me, there's a little bit of a starstruck thing with the referees right now, especially with Shea and Brunson and like the top guys. The refs are just kind of like tweet, free throw line. It's just easier that way. And some of these, to your guys' point, like Doc said, when it's a foul, it's a foul. Okay? But sometimes it's blurry. And here's what I mean by that. Okay, Adam changed the way the whistle was being blown. And it happened around the All-Star break again about 2 years ago. Everybody hated the soft-ass NBA, how easy it was. It was just foul. It was a foul fest. Everybody was complaining from the cheap seats in the arena to front offices. Everybody was complaining about this, okay? And the league made a change. They told the refs to let them play. They allowed more contact. We were all talking about it. We saw it immediately, okay? And then it went into the playoffs, and it was even more so that way. We're all applauding the league. Way to go. We're not back to hand checking and Derek Harper around here, okay? But we're back to more of a balanced whistle. Allow some contact unless the contact creates an advantage for either side, an obvious advantage for either side, and the refs comply with one exception. The refs still allow star players to foul bait. The league change, and guys, check this out. The league can do whatever the hell it wants. The league changed the CBA, cracking down on the high-spending teams. Did it work? Yes. Okay. The league created the load management department. Trae Young is playing basketball tonight. Hello. That's a win for the load management / tanking department. All right. Put in by the league. Okay. They did that. They made a change. They got on Utah. They got on Washington. They're finding teams. They're sending doctors out to teams to say, we don't believe what you're telling us. Okay. So why can't the league adopt a new point of emphasis to allow the defense more leeway when it comes to players like SGA moving into them, grazing them to generate fouls? Okay, let's get back to the letter of the law here. A foul gotta be a foul, okay? Like if you graze SGA and you as the defender do not gain any advantage through that contact, it's not a foul, okay? Even if there's like a little graze. Let's use some common sense here. Did his human body touch SGA's human body? Yes. Did he gain an advantage by it? No. So swallow the whistle, okay? Or, but that's my point here. If the league office tells the refs to do something, they will do it, okay? They're not like insubordinate players who are going to do whatever the hell they want in an all-star game. They're the refs, okay? The referees are the police officers of the NBA. When Commissioner Gordon tells a cop to do something, that cop does it, okay? And they don't push back. Otherwise, they will lose their job or be sent to anyway, who cares? It was some kind of comic book analogy right there. The jail that they sent all the bad guys to in the Batman movies. You guys know what that is?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Asylum, the Gotham Asylum, or
that's it. Asylum.
Yeah.
Asylum.
The Arkham Asylum.
All right.
Arkham
so there you
Asylum,
go.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, dude. Look, I know Dwight Walton.
Yep.
Your wait is over. Dwight, your wait is over. You know where I'm going with this. You're going to go first on this one. Okay.
Thank you very much.
We had to get to Knicks Thunder real quick, but now it is Dwight Walton 30 on Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Dwight Walton's Hornets just spanked they're not Eric Collins' Hornets. They're Dwight Walton's Hornets, okay? They just spanked the Celtics in Boston. They've won 6 in a row, all by 15-plus points. Guys, did you know the Charlotte Hornets are 18-15 on the road? Let that sink in. The Hornets have a winning road record. Okay, this is insanity. This game was over at halftime. 64-43 at halftime, 21-point lead. Joe Mazzulla was breaking things in the locker room, okay? For the game, Celtics shoot 38%. Pritchard was terrible, didn't make a shot. Vooch was almost as terrible, 2 for 10. Paging Jayson Tatum to surgery. Paging Jayson Tatum to surgery. The Hornets are only 2.5 games behind 6th place Philly. They are 2.5 games away from getting out of the play-in tournament, and Dwight Walton will fly to Charlotte and literally drive the first truck in the bandwagon. Okay, I'm telling you.
100%.
So Dwight, that's the setup. The question is, Hornets, contenders or pretenders? Go.
That's an unfair question because while I'm on the Hornets bandwagon, due to their lack of experience and not having any playoff series together, they're obviously pretenders. All right? They're pretenders. But I want to celebrate what they've done over the last 19 games. They are arguably the best team in the NBA. They are 16-3 in those last 19 games. As you said before, they have won 6 in a row, all by 15 points or more. In that 16-3 record over the last 19 games, they are beating teams by 14 points. They have the number one offense in the NBA in that stretch. They have the third best defense during that stretch. As you said, they are 18-15 on the road. They are 32-31. They started the season 16-28. I want to go back to last season. I was the only one that was paying attention, and no one wanted to listen to me when I said the Indiana Pacers have been either the best or second best team in the NBA behind the Oklahoma City Thunder since January. And I would say, don't sleep on the Pacers. I would get remarks like, I'm snoring, I'm sleeping, I'm fast asleep. Nobody would respect it. But who got to the NBA Finals last season from the Eastern Conference? The Indiana Pacers. Now, I'm not saying the Charlotte Hornets are on the same trajectory. The Pacers had shown in the previous 2 seasons that they were on that trajectory. And last season, everything hit for them and they got to the finals. And who knows? Only God knows. But if not for the Tyrese Halliburton Achilles injury, maybe we're talking about the Pacers as NBA champions today. The Charlotte Hornets are on that trajectory. Not this season, but I just hope they can get into the playoffs. In a play-in situation, anything can happen. But if they finish in the top 6, I feel sorry for whoever the third seed in the NBA's Eastern Conference is going to be. I'm not saying the Hornets are going to beat that third seed, but that third seed better pay attention. The scouts and the coaches better do their homework, because the Charlotte Hornets do the 2 things that are paramount in today's NBA. They guard and they shoot the 3 extremely well. They lead the league in 3-point field goals made, and they're third in percentage. And they guard. They defend, they get out in the open court, and they can score the basketball. This is a tough one for me, because I'm on the Cooper Flag bandwagon, and I'll understand if the reporters give Flag the Rookie of the Year. But if we want to keep it a buck, Con Knipple has been the most consistent. He's been available. He is shattering all of the 3-point field goals made record for rookies. I believe he's leading the NBA in 3-pointers made. He is a major reason as to why the Hornets are having the season that we're having. And again, if the reporters are going to keep it a buck, he is impacting winning. The Charlotte Hornets need to be paid attention to. They are fun. Charles Lee, all of a sudden, I've had Joel Mazzulla as the coach of the year. I've got to throw Charles Lee into that mix now, along with Mitch Johnson, JB Bickerstaff, and whomever else you want to give the award to. The Hornets, I am on the bandwagon. I'm telling you that right now. You're going to have to shove me off. I'm not saying they're contenders. They are pretenders, but they're going to scare whomever they play in the playoffs. Please get into the playoffs. Not the play-in. Get into the playoffs.
I'm so disappointed, Doc. I'm so disappointed. because I don't like 4-0 debates. This is going to be a 4-0 debate. I thought Dwight was going to take up for his plucky little team that could, and he's not even doing it. So let's make this short and sweet, Doc. Are the Charlotte Hornets a pretender or a contender?
I feel it's an unfair question. I mean, obviously,
Thank you.
we
That's
don't
what I
think
said.
they're going to be a contender, but they're definitely not pretenders. I feel like saying they're a pretender is unfair as well. I feel like they're more of a dark horse team that can shock anybody. Like if you underestimate them in the 7-game series, a team like Detroit would struggle because they don't. Number one, the same way they're coming out at the Knicks. The Charlotte Hornets after that fight are going to be coming after the Detroit Pistons and have some blood that they want to get out of them. Like, so with that said, and then their 3-point shooting, I don't think the Detroit Pistons can hang with the Charlotte Hornets in a 3-point shooting contest. And they also defend well. So if they key in on Cade Cunningham, that might be the kryptonite for the Detroit Pistons. And so, like, you have a lot of unproven guys that have been doing well this year for the Detroit Pistons, and same thing for Charlotte Hornets. But you put some pressure in there, and you don't know who doesn't show up night to night. Is Janice Jenkins going to show up every night?
Yes.
Is this guy Devontae Green? Is he going to show up every night? But we know
Yes.
Con Knueppel will. We know Con Knueppel will because Con Knueppel showed up all season. So I just feel like with that said, and then I don't think you mentioned Kobe White, or maybe I just tuned you out after a while. But Kobe White is a big addition. Kobe White's a big addition because with the problem with the Hornets this past couple of years is that there's always something wrong with LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller. And so now you have a bona fide 6-man who has his injury problems as well. But if they could all be healthy at one time, and now you have a bona fide 6-man coming off the bench that knows how to fill it up. So in the North Carolina area, seems very comfortable with what's going on there. I think they are contenders for a dark horse, not for the championship, but contender to really be spoiler. And that's what I have them as. And that's what I like them as too.
AM is chomping at the bit,
interesting.
Rick. AM wants
All right.
to get in on it.
AM, contenders or pretenders? Do you hate this question like the rest of the panel? What?
Rick, Cam, Chief, Hoss, Bubala. I promise this is not a hot take AM Zag. The Charlotte Hornets are contenders. This is not a 4-0. This is a 3-1 because I assume, Rick, you're obviously foreshadowing that you're going to say that they're pretenders. Guys, this is not a happy accident at this point, okay?
Right.
Since January 1st, the Charlotte Hornets are number 1 in offensive rating. They're number 5 in defensive rating. It would be a pretender category if they were one or the other, but to be both and to be number 1 in net efficiency rating in the NBA, that is not a happy accident. As much as B-Dot has admonished, and I think backhanded personally to me about the plus-minus of it all, the plus-minus of the starting 5, including Diabate when he's in the starting 5, it's so far and away above everybody else in the league because number 2 are the Detroit Pistons, and it's insane how much higher it is than the Detroit Pistons. I'm going to tell you something right now as a Knicks fan. As of today, as of March 5th, I want the Knicks to end up in 4th place, guys. I really do. Tatum's coming back. I swear to you, this is really how I feel. I want them playing Toronto. I want them playing Philadelphia, or I want them playing the Magic. And I'm not even sure that it isn't Charlotte at this point who's going to sneak up. Guys, they are only 3 in the loss column behind Charlotte. They're 1.5, behind the Magic. They are 1.5 behind the Heat and the Magic, a total, but 3 in the loss column behind the Magic right now. And I'm including Atlanta into this right now, guys. Atlanta last night went 14 deep in their players. Kuminga was a DNP. Buddy Hield was a coach's decision DNP. Buddy Hield earlier in the year was on somebody's fantasy team coming at playing for somebody. Now the dude's not even getting in the game for Atlanta. And suddenly you look at their lineup and how they're playing, there's something going on in the East right now, guys, with the 7-8, okay? And I promise you, like, Miami and the Magic are quaking in their boots, and Philadelphia is taking notice. Charlotte is just not that far away from being the 6th spot. I want the Knicks in 4th. The Hornets just went into Boston last night and waxed them. 16-3 over 19 games. Like, again, it's one thing if you're one or the other. You're just so far and away better on offense, or you're so far and away better on defense. But their starting 5 is putting in the work night after night. Do you remember just a few months ago when all of us were on here talking about LaMelo Ball, like, not wanting to show up, or actually, like, asking surreptitiously for some trade, right? And we were all like, hey, LaMelo, what are you doing? Grow up with these guys. I get it. The leap is almost too enormous to fathom and to think about. And I'm the first one to say, hey, I want to see you do it again. I'm like the biggest advocate of that. So let's see Charlotte like do this, like come back next year and be one of the top 4 teams in the East. It's not, you don't have to worry about it. Right now, they're contenders. The numbers bear it out.
All right. I'm happy, AM. I'm happy. This is not the way I had it on my bingo card, but I'm happy. I don't like a 4-0 debate, and we do not have a 4-0 debate. And AM, you're right. I have them in the pretender category. Contenders make it to round 2. Pretenders get beat in round 1. Contenders make a run. Pretenders are one and done. I can get with the idea, guys, that Charlotte's going to beat Atlanta, Miami, or Orlando. That would be my prediction right now. It is now my prediction, whereas 2 months ago it wasn't. Charlotte will be a playoff team, not just a PIT team. But to be contenders, you got to beat another contender. Will the Hornets beat the Pistons? No. Will the Hornets beat the Knicks? No. Will the Hornets beat the Celtics with Tatum? No. Okay. Will the Hornets beat the Cavs?
No.
Stop it,
Maybe.
Cam.
Maybe.
Stop it, man. Come on. Oh,
Maybe.
come on, Cam.
Maybe.
Jeez.
I'm leaving that door open.
Don't sleep in the Cavs.
I'm leaving that. Well, I'm sound asleep on the Cavs. I'm telling you guys, I'm on the exact opposite frequency, man. I've seen this team. I've seen all these James Harden teams. I've seen all this false hope and false optimism and false hype and Harden propaganda. This is going to be the year. He's in a different lane now. He's not the number 1 option. He doesn't have to carry as much load. It's every excuse in the book has already been used. There are no other excuses. Oh, Harden ran out of gas. He was carrying the team on his shoulders the whole year. Harden had an ankle injury that really buzzkilled him in this series. Blah, blah, blah. It never ends. What did you do? Did you win or not? That's where I'm at with it. All of this contextualization with James Harden. Bottom line, show me the baby, okay? You know, show me. I don't want to see the flirtation in the first date and, you know, little cute walks through the park. I don't want to see all that stuff. Show me the baby. My goodness. All right, so back to Charlotte here as my voice continues to just shred into 2 pieces. Charlotte's going to be 7 or 8. They will play one of the big boys in the first round, and they're going to go home. But, guys, I am excited about where this is going, right? But just history says it ain't going to happen this year. I think, Dwight, I think Doc made the point. They're contenders to be a dark horse and kind of shock the world. I like the way you phrase that. Like they could take one of the big boys to 7 games. Do you guys remember when that upstart Atlanta team was playing like Pierce and KG and all those guys in the first round with Josh Smith and all those guys, and they went to 7 games, right? Game 6 up in Boston, and Boston just cranked them, right? But nobody thought that series was going 7. I could see Charlotte maybe doing that, but I can't see them getting out. All right, let's move on, guys, to Jayson Tatum. We got big news on him, and it did not come from you know who. I don't cite that guy.
Don't say it.
I'm not going to. I don't want to give him any press. Are you kidding me right now? No, I'm not doing it. Anyway, but when Tim McMahon of ESPN talks, I listen. Okay. Tim McMahon said it's a matter of when, not if, regarding Jayson Tatum's return. Boom. It's on, guys. It's on. There's been all this reporting, all of the positive stuff. He's been going 5-on-5 for a while now, okay, in practice. The question is, will Boston win it all with Tatum? And I want to make this clear. It's not can they win it all. It's will they win it all. So call your shot, okay? I say no, but they're going to win the East with Jayson Tatum. Sorry, Doc. Sorry, AM. Maybe earmuffs would come in handy right now. Recently, I've been on Spurs over Pistons in the finals because the Pistons own the Knicks. And at least in the regular season, that's true. We'll see. But remember, I always said Spurs over Pistons with an asterisk. I want to see what happens with Tatum in Boston. Well, it's on and popping now, okay? His return is right around the corner, maybe sometime next week. It's time. You guys can do whatever the heck you want, but it was time for me to update my opinion on the top of the East and the top of the league. To dismiss Boston is a huge mistake, and I know none of you guys are going to do that, I think, okay? They have all the bases covered. 2 stars, shooting, defense, great coaching, championship DNA, home court advantage, and depth. They have everything you need, all right? Most important of all those is championship DNA. Boston's going to get out of the East. They're going to beat the Knicks in round 2. Again, sorry, Knicks fans. And then they're going to beat the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals because I don't think the Knicks are going to fall to 4. I think they're going to be 2 or 3, which means they will play the 2 or the 3 in the second round. You know, 1 will play 4 in the second round. And then I think the Pistons will be 1. And then I think Boston is going to beat Detroit. Pardon me, Boston's going to beat New York, Boston, Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals. Mike Brown and Cat are going to be the Knicks' downfall against Boston. That's right, I said Mike Brown. Wait for it. Lack of experience and lacking a badass number 2 scoring option is going to be the Pistons' downfall against Boston. Because think all the defenders that Boston has to throw at Cade Cunningham, all the size, all the agility, all the lateral quickness. They're going to make it very, very tough on Cade Cunningham. And so all that said, the Celtics will lose in the finals to the alien and his guards, all right? Because the best 5 in ball is Wemby, Fox, Castle, Harper, and Vassell. It's the best 5 in ball. And AM, I know that there's numbers that would dispel that. They were saying, Mike Breen was saying that the starting 5 for OKC last night, minus J-Dub with Case and Wallace, was 16-0. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that statistic at the beginning of that game? I was like, What? Okay, but I'm still taking this 5 over that OKC 5. And by the way, they've proven it 4-1. Okay, let's go around the room here. I want to go to AM Pfeffer here. First, kind of change the ordering a little bit. Will Boston win it all with Jayson Tatum?
No, they won't. And they're not the title favorites. Look, I'm a Vegas guy, always have been. You know, I'm a metrics guy. You know, I'm a numbers guy, right? So OKC at this moment is still far and away the title favorites. Then it's the Spurs. And then it's the Denver Nuggets. No, forgive me. I'm sorry. It's actually the Denver Nuggets ahead of the Spurs a little bit. I think it's plus 600
Can I just,
for the Nuggets. Yes?
Quick question.
Yes.
How can OKC be this landslide favorite to win it all over San Antonio when San Antonio's 4-1 against them this year? How does that?
San Antonio's not even the second odds-on favorite. The Nuggets still are. And I'm gonna tell you something else.
Prove them wrong. Let's go. Come on.
Right. By the way, Rick, you're gonna love where this goes next. You know, my mistake by the Lake hater. Cleveland has better odds to win the title than the Detroit Pistons.
I'm out. I'm out. You guys continue the show. I'm out. I got to take a walk around the neighborhood. Are you kidding me right now?
But by the way, why am I even going down this road? Yeah, correct. But who just shot up the board in the East? Obviously, because Tatum's coming back now. See you, Rick. It's night. Rick actually literally left the show. He's out. Might have been a bathroom break.
Why they? Okay, it was just a bit. It was just a bit.
But in all seriousness, the Celtics are now 4th. Okay, on the list. They're the first team out of the East. So I'm with you, and you mentioned it, Rick, that the Celtics could come out of the East. Hey, who am I to disagree? Do I personally feel like the Celtics are coming out of the East? No, at this moment, I still feel like Detroit's coming out of the East. I'm hoping it's the Knicks, but I feel like Detroit's coming out of the East. But Cleveland, again, has better odds than Detroit. You know, I have said the East still runs through Cleveland all year long. I haven't necessarily moved off that, but I'm feeling Detroit at the moment. But I'm feeling Cleveland just as much as I'm feeling Boston, just as much as I'm feeling the Knicks. Those top four teams, it's exciting all around of where we're at. But this is like everybody ultimately wants to know. What we're really asking is why the hell is Tatum coming back right now? Should he come back? Is this the right move? This, that, the other, and I'm sure we'll get into that. The reason is because they're the favorites to come out of the East with Tatum on the floor. That ain't nothing. Anything happens when you get to the finals. Anything goes, as Indiana proved last year and won Tyrese Halliburton injury away from a potential, banner being raised in Market Square Arena. Do they still play in Market Square Arena in Indianapolis?
No.
Is that where they're at? Just goes to show. I'm still thinking about Elvis's final show in '77, baby. So it's like, this is absolutely a thing, okay? The Celtics are for real. Tatum should be coming back. Why not? They're now the favorites out of the East, but they're not the favorites to win it all, and I'm not going to put them as the favorites to win it all.
I cannot wait for the Cleveland downfall in the playoffs. I am more excited to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers fizzle than anything in these playoffs. I want to see that more than a Spurs OKC West Finals. I'm telling you right now. I'm over here.
By the way, but how crazy is it if you really want to look at something? How crazy is it right now that Denver still remains number 2 as the overall favorites to win it all?
It's
not
crazy.
The Spurs.
I mean, like, they've won it. They've got Jokic. Gordon's coming back. I'm not like that. I don't know. It's kind of chalky to me, I guess, like Cleveland over Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are on Mars, okay? I'm going to, you know how I like to take a bow. I'm going to actually, I'm going to get creative with this one. And I know you're acting like it's going to happen. Oh, I'm acting like it's going to happen. All right, let's get back to our debate here. Doc, will Boston win it all with Tatum?
Well, sorry, Doc, before you answer, can I just say one thing really quickly? I'm just saying everybody should look how high the Charlotte Hornets have climbed on the overall rating. They're still way down below the Timberwolves, but don't get me wrong, like they're above the Magic, they're above the Heat, they're above the Raptors, like way above them in terms of their opportunity as quote unquote contenders, pretenders to win it all. Doc, forgive me, I did not mean to steal your thunder, pun intended. Take the floor.
No thunder stolen. No thunder stolen. So yeah, I'm gonna say this so I'm blue and orange in the face. There are 4 teams at the top, and all 4 of those teams are equal to me. It's really comes down to matchups. And I'll say this: if Cleveland is a 4 or 5 seed, and they see Pistons in the second round, the Pistons are not beating Cleveland in a 7-game series. This is not the same Cleveland team. And this is also not the same Boston team. I don't know if you guys are trying to make me blue or orange, but it's not working. But
that was a silent boo. That was a silent boo. Just
yeah, it's not the same team. So Cleveland is perfectly situated, and they also have the right roster pieces to beat a team like Detroit. Detroit is a very flawed team and will continue to be. The trade deadline is over. Detroit doesn't have what it takes to beat any team in a 7-game series because of their shooting. And the scouting report is out and has been proven correct that if you throw someone at Cade Cunningham all game, he gets frustrated and his numbers go down. And there's no second shot creator. There's no second person that can take over that helm. But the other thing about it is that the Celtics are not the same team. This Celtics team is lacking Kristaps Porzingis, is lacking a Drew Holiday, is lacking Al Horford. They don't have the same DNA. So just adding Tatum to that actually puts them back to the same team that we knew years ago that you never knew what you're going to get. They would choke. They would lose the teams that they shouldn't lose to. Perfect example yesterday when they lost to the Charlotte Hornets. They're losing the teams they shouldn't lose to. So it's all of that. Plus, I just feel like Tatum's not 100%. So the Celtics team is, you don't know what you're going to get with them, and they don't have the same DNA as they did in years past. Their window is closing and rapidly closing. I don't think they'll be back to that dominant team that we're like, oh, Celtics are automatically going to make it. Right now, I think there's 4 teams at the top, and it's very matchup dependent.
Is there anything that we as a group disagree on more than Cleveland's prospects for this year? I feel like this is like the core disagreement that we have, and it excites me. It makes me so happy that we're on the other side because we agree on a lot of stuff, right? But this one, I mean, we can watch the games together, and I mean, we can. Doc, we can get some chicken wings, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Some bonus wings.
but while you guys are like, yeah, Cleveland, I'm gonna be over here on the other side. With love, by the way. Dwight Walton, will Boston win it all with Jayson Tatum?
As you guys know, I am vehemently opposed to Jayson Tatum even entertaining the thought of coming back this season. They would be one of the favorites to win the championship next season after a proper and lengthy and healthy rehabilitation process. I think this is more fan driven than it is organization driven. I understand that Jayson Tatum is his own entity and he wants to beat the odds. He's told his doctor on the selective things that have been released on social media that I'm not coming back to be a role player. Now that I have said that, if Tatum is to return tomorrow night or over the course of the next week to 10 days, the Celtics and Jayson Tatum are doing this correctly. Let him ramp up to the playoffs. Don't start playing in the playoffs because you need to get your body in the requisite shape and your body has to go through rigors. You're going to have to test that Achilles in games before you play in a playoffs where the intensity is going to be that much more ramped up. What my concern is, for as good as Jayson Tatum is and as familiar as most of his teammates are with him, there is going to be a chemistry adjustment, which is why it's good if Tatum comes back right now. However, the totem pole, the pecking order, is going to take a hit. It wouldn't surprise me if the Celtics lose a few games with Jayson Tatum because there is going to have to be some form of adjustment. Jayson Tatum is somewhat of a ball stopper. When he gets the ball, he likes to go one-on-one. The Celtics right now have a more free-flow offense, although Jaylen Brown is the leading MVP candidate as far as I'm concerned, but there's more ball movement. There's more body movement without Jayson Tatum in the lineup. That is going to stop a little bit when Tatum joins the lineup eventually. That's my concern. Again, fans are going to expect Jayson Tatum to be Jayson Tatum when the playoffs start. I'm not sure if that's a realistic goal for Tatum and the Celtics, which is why I don't have them as title favorites to come out of the East and to win a championship. That would be the story of recent history. I can't see it happening. I don't want to see Tatum come back and be half of what he is. The fans aren't even thinking. They just think Tatum is this 6'10 player that's going to come back and be himself right off the hop. It's going to take time. If the Celtics start losing, what do you think the narrative is going to be? Tatum should have stayed home. This team was fine without him. He's ruining the chemistry. That's how fans are. That's how media is. That's how we're going to be on this platform. It's unfortunate. Again, even if Tatum comes back, I don't see them beating a healthy Knicks squad, a healthy Cavs squad. They're going to have issues with the Charlotte Hornets. Let's just call it as it is. The Hornets are going to give them problems, right? So, again, the human factor for me, I don't think Tatum is going to come back and be the player that he was last season. Take your time. Stay home. Rest, relax, rehab. Come back close to 100% next season. If you come back this season, I hope the best for y'all.
Yeah, I just want to add, like, to what Dwight is saying. Even if Tatum, let's just say he's good for 30 and 7 and 8 every game. I'm trying to tell you, let's remember that Celtic team that was Brown and Tatum, and how, they both did well, and they both were, highest paid in the NBA at some point. At some point, I still think it comes down to the others of the Celtics. I don't think they are the same team. I don't think they're as good without a Drew Holiday at the helm of the point guard position and all those other positions. So I'm already saying Tatum's going to come back and eventually get to where he used to be, and in terms of numbers. And I'm saying that's not enough because they're not the same team. They're not as tough as they used to be. And so it doesn't matter. I'm expecting Tatum to be great. And it's still not going to be enough, like it wasn't enough previous years when they were losing.
I mean, it's great points, man. It is. And I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, are these conversations getting you maybe just a bit more geeked about the upcoming playoffs? Guys, it is March 5th. The playoffs are, I don't know, 5 weeks away, something like that. It's exciting, man. It's exciting. And a lot of disagreements are germinating. Cavs over Celtics with Jayson Tatum? Ugh, what a dangerous prediction. Ugh. Ooh. Woo! Can't wait to see this play out, man. I mean, what
Cavs
if
over
Cleveland?
Detroit. That's my prediction. Yeah.
No, because
What if?
you want the Cavs to beat Detroit so they don't have to play the Knicks. That's
No,
your
I
hope.
want the Knicks. I want the Knicks to see Detroit. I just don't think they can beat them.
No, you don't.
No, I did. I said that already.
No, you don't.
I did already.
Because
No one's scared of them.
Game 7 is in New York. I mean, excuse me.
It doesn't matter because
you don't want
it doesn't
that.
matter.
You don't want that. You don't want that.
No, you don't. You think I don't want it, but I'm saying we're not ducking any smoke. I just feel like at this point in the season, we could beat anybody in a 7-game series. So we're not ducking anything right now. It's just about building team chemistry and make sure we're on the same page in terms of the game plan. That's it. It doesn't matter who's in front of us. Like we ultimately have to face a hard team. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be gritty.
That was some Walt Clyde right there.
So as of right, you are saying that the Knicks are going to beat the Thunder in the finals. You're saying that
they can beat the Thunder in the finals. Yeah, it's the same way the Indiana Pacers could have beat the Thunder.
Charlotte can beat the Thunder. They can beat them.
Yeah. Ultimately, you got to strap it up and go between the lines and play the games, just like KD would say. Right. You got to play the games, see what happens. But previously to them getting better defense and having that high offensive efficiency, I said they had no chance unless they do a trade that puts them there. But now I actually think that they have what it takes to win any 7-game series in front of them. So at this point, you just don't duck any smoke. You just got to play the games.
And I've been saying that all season long, cuz I've been saying that about the Knicks.
They're a different team. They're a different team than how they started. They weren't playing defense previously when the season started. They weren't playing that type of defense.
I have a prediction. It's going to be very This is such a troll of a prediction, but I'm not ready to die on this hill, all right? Or put a lot of money on it. But the Toronto Raptors are going to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in round 1 and completely buzzkill you guys.
You know what, Cam?
That's a bad matchup for them. Yeah.
Hold on.
Toronto's taking out Cleveland. Harden's going to go 3 for 18 in Game 6, and that's it. They go home.
Listen, hold on. But
he had a broken right thumb. You shoot with your left hand, buddy. I'm not hearing it.
Listen, I am in Montreal. I'm not in Toronto. I get it. I am not a Raptors fan. I do cheer for them, but as much as I've given them praise this season, I don't see them beating Cleveland in a playoff series. I just don't. They'll make it difficult. It might even go 7 games. No question about it. But for some reason, I think a lot of us have hope. I know, Rick, you just don't give a damn in regards to the Cavaliers, but I just think there's
I give a damn. I just don't trust those jokers. I give a damn about all this stuff.
So this is where I'm going. So for
SOFT,
whatever reason,
man.
I guess we're hopeful that James Harden gets over the hump and leads this team to more playoff success than he's had. And I think the overriding theme here, because the Cavs have more shot creators over the course of a 7-game series, I think that will play out to their benefit. That's why we're as great as the Pistons have been this season. The one bugaboo that they have outside of Cade Cunningham, who else can they give the ball to make a play? At least with the Cavaliers, you've got James Harden, you've got Donovan Mitchell, and to a third degree, Evan Mobley, right? These guys can make plays offensively. We're not sure who the second player outside of Cade Cunningham for the Pistons is going to be that guy. Maybe Jalen Duren, who can make a play off the bounce from 18 feet and in. I've seen him do it, all right? So maybe it's him. But again, teams with multiple shot creators are going to have success in the playoffs. I can't see the Raptors at this point, although they got some guys that could do it. RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram. I get it. I understand that. But Cleveland right now, there's a different aura around them come playoffs. I think they're going to be a factor. Just wait and see.
You guys are manufacturing stuff with Cleveland. These are theories. I love you guys. And this commentary is from nothing but a love space here. But these are all theories. No, I'm serious. These are theories, right? I mean, to a point, a lot of what we talk about is theories, but we haven't seen this Cavs group with James Harden yet, right? So you guys are speculating and extrapolating on a theory. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's kind of all theory based. Like you make your points, you have your stats and your historical stuff, and you back it up, and we make our points here. What I know is this is the crossroads of Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. What the Cavs will do. This is the crossroads. Look, Dwight, you mentioned all the shot creators. On paper, Cleveland should wax Toronto. Cleveland should wax, I don't know, not the big boys, but they look great on paper. Jared Allen, double-double every game. Evan Mobley, young stud, a.k.a. the Tin Man. Jalen Tyson having a huge come out this year, right? Probably on the second team of most improved, right? He's been fantastic. Donovan Mitchell's a stud. He's a killer, man. I love Donovan Mitchell. I always remove him from my criticism of the Cavaliers. It's not about Donovan Mitchell. That dude is born to win. He's a championship Robin. He's not a championship Batman, but he's a championship Robin. A la Pau Gasol, Tony Parker, Kyrie Irving, that type of guy. I think he could be that championship number 2. I don't think he's a championship number 1, though, and he's the one on this team. And then, you get to James Harden, and we'll see. We are going to bring on right now Dwight Walton about this, and you all soon will be very happy about this. Dr. X, AM Pfeffer. We bring on right now Tim Capstraw. He is the radio game analyst for the Brooklyn Nets. There's the Capper!
All right. Let's go.
Let's go.
I am ready. Dwight Walton's in the house. That's all I care about. Holy cow. I drank beers in Albany, New York for 4 years free because of Dwight Walton, and he was only there 1 year.
Thank you very much, Ken. Thank you. Yes,
unbelievable. Sir. You're the cause of my drinking issues. Come on, Dwight Walton. Holy cow. Holy cow, man!
The
What a
Capper,
player you were,
dude.
What?
Dude, I miss you, man. You know what I miss, Capper? The energy,
What?
man. And I didn't forget. This guy brings gasoline everywhere he goes, man. Man, we used to do the EuroLeague game of the week on NBA TV, and we'd be in there on an off day, like a Saturday morning. Newsroom completely empty, nobody in there. And you know, like we work a lot and stuff, and you need that little charge, right? That little oomph. And I got it every time from the Capper. We had killer broadcast, Capper. I got to tell these guys something. So we called the EuroLeague game of the week. The game was played 4, 5, 6 days before. Then they sent it over. Then we voiced over the play-by-play. All right, you tell them. What am I going to say right now?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. So everybody thought I was a genius, you know, because the game's already been played. So I had the X factor of the game for 7 years in a row. I nailed it. And I could read, not only did the game be played, but you could read about it, you know, and I'd say, and you have to practice the guys' names because you could really be embarrassed, you know. So I'd be like, Masiauskas, his second half, I got a feeling, Rick, he's going to explode here. You know, I just read he went for like 18, you know, in the quarter. People, this guy's unbelievable. He's a genius, you know. Then they think I'm in like different parts of the world, and I'm in Sea Caucus watching TV. It was unbelievable. They go, how'd you get back from Israel? So easy, you know, no problem.
Yeah, what? They'd be like,
what a job. That was a great job.
Wait, weren't you just in Greece calling that game with Capstraw? Well, no, we were in Secaucus voicing it over. But here's the thing. Capper would like print the box score, print the recap, and he'd be like, do you want to see it? I'm like, no, keep that away from me. I want this to be a completely naked, pure call. Remember that?
Yeah, I would just, and I'd be over on the side practicing Theodoros Papaloukas and Masiauskas and Yasikevicius. And then I could try out material on Rick because he's got a great sense of humor, you know. So it was almost like I was like at, on Route 17 at a comedy club. You know, it was great stuff. But I got to tell you about Dwight Walton. Dwight Walton he was born to be a great basketball player, like not just good, great, right? But he is born to be doing this right now. Rick, when he came to campus with like back then they had Street and Smith's and Sporting News. He had every magazine that you could possibly imagine in his hand. And if you asked him about a player, about a sophomore at Cardozo High School in Queens, Dwight Walton would be breaking it down for you. You are so made for this, man. You are a media person. You got that great smile and a good. Sorry about the other guys there, but I just know Dwight, and he kind of helped my basketball career out quite a bit until they got rid of me.
Thanks, Ken.
Got me a head coaching job though one day, so that was great. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks, Ken. Thank you.
All right, so Capper, let me introduce you to below you is Dr. Phil McDonald. We call him Dr. X around here. He is a sports medicine radiologist. He's our founder, our creator, and a hell of a guy, huge Knicks fan. And A.M. Pfeffer, lower right, he's a businessman, an author, an anchor, sports media guy. He's out in our LA studios. They look pretty fancy out there, don't they, Capper? Looking pretty good.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice painting. Yeah. Nice.
So, I mean, the jokes never stop with this guy. All right, Dwight. So I want you and Capper to go back and forth about Capper recruiting you. Dwight, you go first, and then I want you guys just to tell that story.
So Cap, first of all, thank you for gracing us with your presence. This is an honor for me. I haven't seen you in quite some time, but of course I've obviously been following you, right? Yeah. But my question is, what made you and Coach Mike Dean seek me out to be Mike's first year at Siena, your first year at Siena? Why did you guys come and recruit me specifically in Montreal?
Well, a lot of people knew of you, but you had a weird recruiting situation. You had
Yes,
attended
yes,
a
I did.
school prior to wanting to go to college. You attended a school a few years back. What was it, Oakwood School or something like that?
Yes, Oakwood College. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
see, that's I
Yes.
remember this was big, and there were I don't know, people knew you were a good player, but didn't know your eligibility. Not good, you were great, but we wanted to get you there 1 year and try to see if we could talk with the NCAA and try to get you eligible. And even if it didn't work out, we had you for 1 year, and I thought it was a great risk to take. There was also other assistant coaches that had worked at Siena before. A gentleman named Frank Dyer, who was telling me, you
Yep.
need to go get this kid. He knew you from another time or whatever, and he knew you. And I can just, you know what I can remember about recruiting you, Dwight? Your mom was awesome, man. Your mom was awesome.
Thank
and
you.
I remember how unbelievable it. And I remember not to go into your house without taking my shoes off. It was like, whoa, don't mess this up, right? She was the most beautiful,
That is correct.
kind woman.
That is correct.
But you knew I had potential to just walk right in there. And you were like, yo, Cap,
That's right.
take your shoes off, will you? Take your shoes off, please. Because I was only 20, Rick, I was 25 at the time, 26. So I
Yeah.
think, I was just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
hanging out. I was a young kid. So it was great, and then Dwight came down, and it was my first year recruiting at Siena. So here comes Dwight. Now, Dwight looked like he was 30 years old. He was muscular even then, and he was great. And we had this other kid named Art Smith, and we had another kid,
Right.
Jeff Robbins. Well,
Yeah.
Siena had been traditionally like a good basketball place, but they hadn't seen guys like this walk in there ever. And I was king of the town. And they didn't even, Mike Dean wasn't even that much involved in that part of that recruiting. He came in that
Right.
year, but it's a gentleman named John Griffin who was leaving, and I kind of was on my own. So everybody that knew everything knew that I was recruiting. And we had this wonderful class of really talented guys, and it was just great. But imagine that Dwight had gone to a school 2 years before attending for religious reasons. You wanted to go to that school or
Yes.
something, or your mom wanted to go. Never played basketball, and now you see what's going on in the NCAA. Hell, you can do anything.
That's
You
right.
think you weren't eligible, right? But you
Yes,
then went on to play. Then I followed you closely on the national team, and I was so proud of you. But this is even better. This is you. I need you on TV every night, or I need you on with Rick.
Thanks,
Rick,
Cap.
take care of my man Dwight. He's unbelievable.
I appreciate
no,
that, Cap.
really. If there was social media and he had a show in college, he could have had a show as a 20-year-old at Siena talking about the NCAA tournament, talking about breaking down every game. It was he's so knowledgeable and so into it. It was like weird. It was like he knew players better than I did. It was very embarrassing. But tell me,
You know what, Cap?
This seems amazing. I heard you're talking before you're breaking down the NBA stuff. I love it, man. Rick, nobody gets people more pumped up about things like this than you do, baby.
You too, Capper.
I really, really, really appreciate this. I'll tell you what, you gave me the chance to play Division I basketball because I knew my situation in terms of my eligibility. I will forever be grateful to my mother for guiding me in the right path. She wanted me to use my brain more than my brawn. She wanted me to attend a Seventh-day Adventist school in Huntsville, Alabama. I will admit I was vehemently opposed to it because I knew how great of a basketball player I was. But I was a mama's boy. Anybody who knew me growing up, I was attached to her hip. If you saw Dwight, you saw Sister Walton. If you saw Sister Walton, you knew Dwight was around the corner somewhere. So we were attached at the hip, and I just wanted to make my mother proud. But eventually she understood that basketball was going to be a major part of my life. Ended up playing for the national team for 10 years. Ended up going to the Olympics in 1988.
Yeah.
After Siena, Cap, I made a promise, a goal for myself. I am going to make the best out of playing Division II basketball. I said I was going to be an All-American every season, and I ended up being an All-American every season. I'm in several Hall of Fames because of it. So the way I frame it, Siena was a part of my path to further my greatness in terms of basketball. I always had a hunch that this media stuff was going to be a part of my life, and I'm very, very grateful for everything I did in my past, in researching, in following, in understanding, and being able to articulate my basketball knowledge to the masses. And now I am getting the opportunity to be on this platform. I've been an analyst on a local sports station, TSN 690 here in Montreal, for the past 20 years. And now I get to talk with you, Coach Cap, on this platform many moons later. It's fantastic. I am happy. I'm emotional. I'm crying here. All of this stuff. It is great. And again, I thank you for honoring us with your presence on our show here. This is great. It's a full circle moment for me, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Just the way I wrote it for you. Perfect.
Woo! What a script. The great Tim Capstraw hanging out with us.
Perfectly.
The great Tim Capstraw hanging out with us here on Beyond the Surface.
We're not talking Nets right now. What are we talking? I'm in Miami right now. I just want you to know this. I'm in Miami. I'm in a hotel in Miami.
I love Miami. Unsi. I was just there a few weeks ago.
We break down NBA. What do we got? What's our topic?
I want to bring in Dr. Phil McDonald here and Capper. I want to tell you that there's a very key detail you need to know. Dr. X and Dwight are first cousins, okay? And in our group chat, they bust balls more than anybody, and it is hilarious. So, Dr. X, come on in here. Give the Capper a question.
Cap, I appreciate you taking care of my cousin all those years back, and that's my auntie right there, Aunt Adele. That was my heart right there. Yeah, that's my dad's big sister. But yeah, she was a force to be reckoned with, and the school that Dwight went to is the HBCU that I went to, and I got my bachelor's in biology, Bachelor of Science in biology, and then went on to go to medical school at University of Connecticut, and then went on to Duke University to do my sports medicine fellowship. So we love that school in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's always a great to start there. But yeah, I just had a question to you about the Nets. It seems this past couple of years, what is the path? Like, what are they really doing? It seems like they're almost like a G League squad to the Knicks at this point. You know, it's like they're developing Knick players like Mikal Bridges ended up coming over, and you know we gave 5 picks up, and it's like it's almost like you guys are doing favors for people. You're doing favors for Michael Porter Jr. You're giving them a contract. You're doing favors for Cam Thomas, and just showing people that these guys are great talents. They can be helpful on other squads, but I just want to see them back in the picture, like where they're a force to be reckoned with, and not just like a minor league squad that's developing talent for other squads.
Wow, geez, try not to stop pulling punches, will you? Come on now. Holy cow! I was feeling good for a moment there. I see that with your cousin Dwight. You kind of got you mix well. He pumps you all up, and you just destroy people. I love that.
Yeah, it's a 20-80 rule. It's a 20-80 rule. It was just too many flowers. It was too many flowers being given to Dwight. So I had to just balance it out.
I swear to God, I felt thank you because I was getting cocky, feeling good about myself, and now I got absolutely nothing. No, let's be honest. If you're in the modern NBA, you kind of hate to say it, you got to be kind of bad to get good. And you say, well, then the Knicks took the Nets players. Well, the Nets got 5 draft picks for Mikal Bridges. That's pretty smart. At a time, they had to reassess where they were, the Nets, and say, hey, listen, We need to regroup. We know we're not going to, it's going to hurt for a couple of years. It might hurt for a year or two, but we got to find a way to a little bit bottom out. Let's remember the OKC Thunder in 2021 were the Nets right now. Just so you know, this is it might not be done like this anymore. I think there's going to be some adjustments. Adam Silver and all that, and the lottery and all that kind of stuff. But the Nets are bad, and they're kind of, it's a very good draft, and they're bad, and they've got 5 rookies playing at times, and they're not going to be that good this year. But I tell you what we have, and Dwight Walton to tell you this, we have a good coach in Jordy Fernandez.
Oh, 100%.
We got a good coach, wouldn't you say, Dwight?
Oh, 1,000%. Yes,
you're
sir.
familiar with him, right? He coached the Canadian national team.
Yes, I am. Yep.
He's a perfect mix of personable, and yet he don't take no crap either. And the guys like playing for him, and the assistants respect the heck out of him. So I think that's the one thing in the NBA. Maybe they got to change it. But being in no man's land in the middle isn't good. If you're not going to be a great team, you want to be weaker. This is supposed to be the best draft in a long time, right? Think about like Victor Wembanyama. Did he change a franchise? Sure did. Did Cooper Flagg really? He's probably going to change a franchise. Nets needed to be in this position this year to have a franchise-changing guy. Maybe not. In some years, it's at different levels, but that's kind of where it's at right now for them. And I will say this. I've been around these people here. Sean Marks' management, they're very bright people. This is probably the only way to do it. But remember, they not only they're going to get a good draft pick. They have, along with like a couple other teams, the most draft picks in the future. And they have the most money available to do whatever they need to do this summer for possible available free agents, even though there isn't any obvious people like that. So as tough as it is for the next 6 weeks, there is a plan in place, and you got to kind of. Sometimes you shouldn't have to go through it like this, but sometimes it's the right thing to do, and I feel like the Nets are doing the right thing right now.
Okay.
Indeed. It was coming apart, and they were trying to hang in there and be mid and be a play-in tournament. I completely agree with the direction this team has gone. I do. And we all know that the reports where they were trying to some picks and not have 5 first-round rookies, right? But I think Danny Wolf's quite a player, and they got some nice talent in that draft. A.M. Pfeffer, let's get your question for Tim Capstraw here, man. What you got?
Of your energy. This is like my smile. It's actually starting to hurt after 12 minutes here. So let's delve a little bit deeper, right? I mean, like I want to put an even bigger exclamation point on this. Like the Nets really only have 3 major guaranteed contracts right now next year, right? Like MPJ, Claxton, and I think Terrence Mann. That's like the only guaranteed money that the Nets have, right? And it took a while. It took me needling show after show after show. But I think around here, I'm starting to get everybody on my side that there's one name out there in the ether that needs to move, that he has a contract that needs his own team. That's what it would ultimately say. And I'm certainly, look, I mean, you've done a great job talking about obviously what the draft pick's going to be. Let's hope the Nets end up in the top 4. They're going to have one of these amazing guys coming out of college this year. Certainly, they have all the money in the world next year. They have all the draft picks in the world to make all these moves. But there's one guy, and I want to hear your opinion on it, okay? I think they need to make a move for the Aaron Fox. That's who I see coming over. He's a $60 million man starting next year for 4 years. It's not good for the Spurs. They've got way too many other guys who've got to be paid. They need to get off of him. You think there's a move to be made, and do you think it's worth bringing him in and making the team, really, or just cultivating a new culture and the team around him, the point guard that he is, or do you think he's past his prime?
Oh, no, I don't think he's past his prime. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's a big reason why the San Antonio Spurs are a threat to could win it all this year. I think the addition of him has been amazing. I think he's a winning player, a leader. I don't think he's certainly too old. I think he's incredibly talented. The Spurs are terrific because, obviously Wembanyama, and they can shoot the ball decently, but their speed at the guard position and depth at the guard position. If they can't, you sound like you know it better than I do. I wouldn't know the details of the potential availability of a guy like that, but I certainly seen what he has done in San Antonio, and I do think that position changes a lot for teams. I think when you have that great point guard breaking down the defense and getting into the paint, you hear that every press conference. They got into the paint. Well, De'Aaron Fox can do that, and he can blast the ball up the floor. So regardless of where he is, if he's on the Spurs, if he's available, whatever, I think he's a heck of a player. But I would have no. I have no inside info on if the Nets would have any interest, but good thinking though. Who else? Who are the top free agent? Who else do you think? It's going to be curious. I'm curious to hear.
Yeah, well, he's not a free agent, right? I mean, he becomes on the books like a huge amount of money. That's the thing. That's kind of what I'm saying. The Spurs for them, it's prohibitive. Now, because of the apron, because of the CBA, like you actually have to match the salaries next year. You got to send out $50-some-odd million and a ton of picks, and that's going to be, its own headache to figure out. But I'm sure Brooklyn and San Antonio could figure out expiring contracts, whatever it is that they want to take back. But I just wanted to know if you thought like he's worth building around to bring back and make mold the team after him.
I think he can help teams. I don't know if the Nets are at. I don't know. I think. We like one of our rookies, Nolan Traore, has been terrific. He's been good. Now, is he going to be ready? Is he De'Aaron Fox next year? No, but he's very good. And when you're 19 years old, you get better quick. He has been really so. I am not sure about that, but you are right. That's kind of how it's done in the modern NBA. You don't really wait for free agents. You trade your assets, and then you just kind of move it, and you make trades that way. So you're right to think that way. He could be somebody. I'll keep an eye on it. But again, and the other thing you got to remember, I'm not an independent broadcaster. I work for the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm very cautious of what so we didn't talk about any of this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. And first of all, I don't know, and I wouldn't if I did. People don't know that. They're wondering like, hey, you're a little bit cautious, about because I ain't got a whole lot of other jobs. This is it. Rick, what the hell?
Yeah, look, it's all about longevity.
Let's talk about other teams.
Yeah. So I want to take you down memory lane here. We have the great Tim Capstraw with us, head coach at Wagner for 10 years. He was a baseball coach at Wagner. That, of course, was his alma mater, and he's a Nets broadcaster right now. Please tell us your history with Jason Kidd, Coach, and was there a moment where you were like, "Yep, this is the basketball genius that I've been hearing about"? What was? Do you remember a moment like that with the great Jason Kidd?
Well, a number of them, a ton of them, but something that blew me away is when we were out in Portland one time, and you know how guys come over half court and they give you it's almost like the coach is pretending to call, or calling timeout, pretending to call so he would dribble up towards the coach and slow down like he was going to call timeout. The defense would relax, and then he'd go in for a layup. It was unbelievable. He did that a few times. And Rick Carlisle has talked about that also. Like, he was an absolute savant of the game, and he thought it incredibly well. He played it well, but he had this thing an intangible about him, that he had a look in his eye that carried over to the other players. And that if he looked at the other player, he not only was going to a whole nother level, everybody else better be going to the other level. And it was just like, look out. I can remember, he had some issues in his life, like a lot of us, and they're crushing him in Boston, as mean as it's ever been. Things said, pictures of him, this a long time ago. And though he just annihilated them, and just the look in his eye also, and also he had such a presence along, to carry his teammates that way. It was beautiful to watch. It was some specific little details like that, but an awful lot of just day to day. How you better be ready, because nobody has ever impressed me more with that ability to just win and carry over that energy to their teammates. And it's a stat. You can't count that stat. There's so much analytics. Not everything that counts can be counted, right? Right.
Right.
That was Einstein said that, believe it or not. I'm quoting Albert Einstein. What's the chances of that, right? But you can't. There's no stat for that. All right. What else? What else is
My
on the
man.
docket?
All right.
Who we
I got
talking
another.
about today?
I got another one. I want to ask you about Steve Nash. He was the Nets coach for a little while.
Yeah.
A lot of people called him a genius. Okay. And I don't know if you guys were like buddies or boys or how many conversations you had with him, but I imagine you had a couple coaches talk. Like, was there anything you learned about the game during Steve Nash's time as the Nets head coach? Did anything he like opened your eyes to or enlightened you to?
I got to admit, I get my eyes opened up and enlightened every day. Like with anybody. Like even like I go through social media and there's young people out there teaching me about the game that I can't believe that there's some not so great stuff and all that, but there are some young people out there that are geniuses, I think, that see the game, break it down, and they just keep coming up on my thing, and I learn something constantly. I love that. You know what? I've done a good job with the Nets over my 23 years of not like overstepping my bounds. You got to kind of know who you are. I'm the radio analyst. You know where that is on the totem pole, Rick? I don't think you can go lower. My seat on the
It's huge in my heart, though. It's huge in my heart, though, Capper. I'll tell you that.
I got you, but my seat on the airplane is almost the bathroom. It's so far back. You can't be any farther back. So I have survived on not crossing the boundaries of. I would interview Steve Nash and he would teach me stuff, but I wouldn't like, hey, you want to hang out? You guys are having beers. I'm coming over to hang out with you. I don't. Or share my opinion on what they should do with the team. Yeah, that'll keep you around long, right? You'll be booted the next day. Steve Nash is probably. I'd love to see him coach again because I think he would prove that he's a really good coach. That's a weird situation. And remember, he didn't coach a healthy team either. There were a lot of injuries.
He never had a full deck.
A lot of injuries.
Agreed.
Never had a full deck. He's a brilliant basketball mind, has a great way. You see him on TV now. There isn't anything he can do. He's really funny. He's really funny. He's really talented. He if he wanted to, but I think when guys get, maybe he might, because he's a competitor, because he might be in the back of his mind saying, that wasn't a fair day. I could do this. In theory, it was a great idea because Kevin Durant had incredible respect for him. But the timing just wasn't right. The unluckiness wasn't there. If he wants to be a coach, the problem is he's so good on TV. He's such an ambassador for the game. Does he need it? I don't know. He might want it. I don't know. But he didn't get it. Nobody was going to win in that situation. And I'd love to see him get another opportunity.
Agreed. And I'm sure that there are 2 commas in his salary with he's with Prime, right? I'm still kind of learning the lay of the land here. But anybody else have a question for the Capper here? And Capper, we don't want to take up too much of your time, so just let us know when you're going to bail out of here.
I got nothing to do. I'm trying to be a regular. You know what I mean?
You already are.
If somebody blows you off, call me up, Dwight. I'm here, baby.
It's been a regular mosh pit in here. It's already been a mosh pit. Dwight, go ahead.
Unbelievable. Listen, I got new friends. Nobody wants to hang out with me. You guys got to hang out. I love it. What do you got, Dwight?
Hey, Cap, you spoke about you have to be bad before you become good. The Oklahoma City Thunder have proven that. The San Antonio Spurs have proven that. Let's talk about the Charlotte Hornets. what they've done since January. We had a question earlier on our show. Are the Charlotte Hornets contenders or pretenders? I'm on the Charlotte Hornets bandwagon right now. I would love to see them give a first-round opponent a run for their money, even take them to 7 games. We see how competitive they are. They have the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, in Con Knipple. They lead the NBA in three-pointers made. They're like third in offensive efficiency. They're third in defensive efficiency over the last 20 games. How far do you think, if the Hornets get into the playoffs, are they experienced enough? Are they good enough to give a team a scare in the first round? And do you think they can possibly win a series?
I you know something? I mean, they're the hot topic now. And what you just said, you got the NBA season isn't 82 games. It's blocks of like 20 games. And like how good you are. And think about where they are right now, just what you said. If they remain healthy and they keep playing at this level, they could very easily win a first round. They really could. Now, they could. That doesn't mean they'd be favored. I think they could win games. I think they're dangerous. I think they're talented. I think Charles Lee's done an amazing job. I think they play within themselves. I think they have players like that people don't maybe know. And like I love Moussa Diabate, the way he flies around the
So do
floor.
I.
I like him. So you know what I mean? I like that. You know, Brandon Miller's got to stay healthy. LaMelo Ball playing. They let LaMelo Ball still be LaMelo, but within reason. You know what I mean? Like he's playing better basketball. Con Knipple is unbelievable with his glue that he provides and his maturity. How about that? A 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid, 19-year-old coming in and providing almost like maturity for a team. It's great. It's great. And I'm drawing a mental blank right now. You know who's done a good job for them? Who's a Michigan State guy? 6'6" strong.
Miles Bridges.
Can't think of
Miles Bridges.
Yeah, he's done
Miles
a great
Bridges.
job being a role player. That is a big key to this team. He's not jealous of these guys, in my opinion. Remember, there was a time when he was going to be the big stud. He was getting 20 a game. He's at 20, 22. He's adjusted and figured it out. And that's a great job with him. Great job with coaches. Great job with they're an interesting organization. And they got a gentleman named Jeff Peterson, who's in management that used to be with the Nets. You know, that Kalkbrenner is a backup big. You know, they just got a nice presence about them. They're really interesting because I am a trend guy, and they are trending and trending up. And don't worry about what the record. They were 4-14 to start the season. So don't worry about don't think about what they're doing in the last month or two. And they just seem like when they play the game, they're composed enough and have a maturity about them that they shouldn't have. Knipple has a lot to do with that, but so do all the other guys. They've all learned, and probably the guy that deserves a ton of is Charles Lee, the job he's done. He's your kind of guy, Dwight. Remind me of you. The Bucknell guy. He was a great player at Bucknell.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Anybody else want to ask Capper? Maybe Capper, these guys are beyond high on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think Toronto's going to beat them in the first round. I'm on Kamla Island with this.
Ugh.
I don't believe in this team. I don't see a long playoff run. Anyway, I could go, but sounds like you're a believer in Cleveland, huh?
Yeah, you know why? James Harden isn't James Harden of Houston and all that. James Harden's in the business of winning basketball games now. He's a beautiful point guard, man, when he wants to be. He is amazing when he wants to be. I saw him with the Nets for 2 months. It was the greatest. He was an MVP for 2 months. But it wasn't that he was shooting step back and shots and going for fouls on drives and going to the free throw line. He was a playmaker. He was a maestro. He can run the whole operation. They did that, and then they pick up like Keon Ellis and Schroeder. Cleveland's dangerous right now. They are a dangerous team and an interesting organization. But I think that James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and I think that Harden doesn't have a problem when Mitchell comes back if he's going to be the leading scorer. I don't think that's going to be a problem for them. I think Harden just wants to win. I think he's playing with a broken thumb right now. I watched him last week. I think he's interesting, and I think they could be first of all, how good are the playoffs going to be? I mean, your shows are going to be great in the playoffs. Let's every day.
Let's go.
No, you know what I mean? It's going to be unbelievable. Everybody talk about the NCAA tournament. But give me a break. I have no idea who's coming out of the East. I have no idea who's coming out of the West. And what?
So,
what
Cap, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to say. Listen, I feel like I'm on an island. This is to me, this is the best the NBA's ever been, and we understand that the Thunder are the favorites, but for the first time in a long time, I can't sit here and tell you who's going to be the NBA champion in June. And I hear all this talk on NBA radio, on NBA TV, and across different platforms about how much weaker the Eastern Conference is to the West. I respectfully disagree to all of that. I think the parity, this is where the greatness of the current CBA is starting to flourish right here. The parity in the NBA is unparalleled. This is fantastic for the sport. Again, the skill set, the athletes, just the overall scope of the NBA is in the best place it's ever been. And I'm so much looking forward to the playoffs because we're talking about a Charlotte Hornets team that if the ball bounces right, they can upset somebody in a first-round matchup. We have no idea who's going to win. We're not even talking about Rick's Minnesota Timberwolves. They're fourth in the West right now. They can beat anybody in the NBA. We may have a difference of opinion about Anthony Edwards. I think he's one of the best players in the NBA currently. The NBA is such a great place right now. We have no idea who's going to win the championship. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah. No. First of all, I agree with you because I've made that statement even this year. I think I heard I heard somebody say it a little bit like you. So I really don't have original thoughts. I just steal stuff all the time. But this guy, no, he said this might be the best the NBA's ever been. When you take into consider not just the parity, the superstars that are still hanging around, combined with the influx of new players, combined with the established guys for about 7-8 years, I don't remember all-star games being quite having the depth. Or, this year was different, but you know what I mean? The amount of good, really good star-like players that are either bench stars or going to be stars, I think is great. I think the parity is great. And I am with you on that. I think it's at an interesting time that it's really good because even when and I'm older than all you guys, but like say even in the 80s, the Celtics and the Lakers, those series are unbelievable, but you kind of thought they were going to get there every year, You kind of knew they probably were going to meet. Now they might not. It didn't happen every year, but it was pretty close. So what did that mean? That mean it was a little bit more predictable. It's hard for me to predict who's going to come out of each conference right now. And then you have the shift of Harden to the Cavaliers from the West to the East. You have Tatum, who could become playing for the Celtics, right? And they've been such a wonderful story this year. So between all these different things, they're on a roll right now in the NBA. I think it's really good. I'm gonna follow your show, man. I better have some good info. We're ready to go. Crushing it.
Tim, I got two.
I got nowhere to go. I'd like to tell you. People got important things.
I got two
I got another podcast to do. No, I haven't done one in about a month. Go ahead.
Tim, I got two very important questions. Quick questions, but very important questions. Number one, are you Neapolitan or Sicilian guy? When you get your slice of pizza. When you get your slice of pizza, which do you get?
Thin
You get
crust,
thin-
New Haven.
Yeah.
I'm a thin crust,
Thin-
New Haven. My daughter goes to school in New Haven, so
So it's New Haven. But I wanted to know, if I'm coming back to Brooklyn, where am I getting that slice? This is actually, I mean, maybe I'm just thinking about lunch right now, but it's been a long time since I've been back in New York, and I haven't been to Brooklyn. Where's the best slice of pizza in Brooklyn these days?
That's too many places. Joey's.
Too many choices.
Hey, Capper.
I don't want. I can't give you that one. I can give you. Go
Capper,
to New
tell
Haven.
me.
It's unbelievable.
Go to New Haven. All right.
New
I'm
Haven.
going to Connecticut. I'm going to
It's the
Connecticut.
capital
I'm
of the
getting
world.
a thin crust slice.
Yeah.
Capper, just hit him
Come to
with
the
Ray's
Barclays,
pizza.
fellas.
Just Ray's pizza.
You can just
Ray's,
You can
go
just say
Ray's. There's
Ray's.
one on
Just
every corner.
Just go Ray's.
There's a Ray's
And then
pizza
it's like,
on every
which
corner,
Ray's?
man.
No,
Just go to Ray's.
Just go to Ray's.
Yeah.
Doc, do you have
Well,
one more question here? Maybe a Knicks. Oh, sorry, AM. You had another question. My bad.
No, that was it. Those were my back-to-back questions. Which
Oh,
which
I thought,
slices
okay,
is
okay.
thin and where am I getting
I
it?
don't know. Yeah, I don't got. I'm trying to think. I just drew a blank because I don't do that much pizza around there. But I swear to God, because I only
fair.
go. Again. Oh, look at that.
Get up to New Haven, Connecticut, everybody. Get your thin crust slice.
No, it's
up
best
there.
pizza in the
Don't
world.
make
It's
it
been rated
hungry.
#1. It is.
All right.
Sally's,
All right. I like to know it.
Pepe's. Sally's and Pepe's
This is
there,
good.
and
Now
Modern.
we're naming names. This is good.
Yeah, Modern. Yeah, Bar.
Yeah.
Yorkside pizza.
You know-
I got
you
'em
know
all,
what?
But I just
Hold
don't
on, Cap. I'm gonna ask the Knick question for my cousin. Do you believe that the New York Knicks, as currently constructed, they have been one of the better teams in the NBA over the past 20 games? They have exponentially improved defensively. Are the Knicks good enough to get out of the East and win an NBA championship? I know that's a vast general question, but do you believe in this version of the New York Knicks?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to win the championship, but I think they have every right to believe they have as much chance as the other 5 or 6 teams that have a shot. They're one of the 5 or 6 that can win it. I think how about picking up Alvarado? How brilliant was that?
Yeah.
Love that dude. I think
Same.
his energy, we talk about Jason Kidd, I think Alvarado's energy wears off on the other guys on the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe their defensive stats were that good. I didn't realize in the last 20 games they've been top 5 like defense. Or whatever. I didn't realize that. And
number one at some point. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're good, and they're deeper than you think, and they're one of the 6 or 7. Now, do you tilt a little bit more towards, like you said before, OKC because they won it last year? Give them a little bit more, but you would have to say that the Knicks are one of the 6 that could win it. And again, that goes back to our theory we were just talking about before. Who knows this year? But they have every right, if you're a Knicks fan, to believe you can be the champion basically almost as much as anybody else. And the thing, remember, if you win the East, remember everybody else in the West that might have a good team. There's only one of those teams coming out, right?
Exactly.
You only have to play one of them.
Exactly.
And you only have to play one of them, and you have to play well. And those guys have been there. I'm a huge Brunson guy. I like everything about him. I think they're really, really, really good, and I think it's great for the NBA. I know that they're good, but it's fun watching that place rock. And then when the Knicks and the Nets become great, look out! Then it's going to be unbelievable. You guys will be doing remote shows down with me at the Barclays Center at a pizza place.
Got a pizza. That's right. There you go.
Oh man! All right, what do we got? Anything else?
Well, Capper, I think on that note, we'll let you go. This has been absolutely amazing. Dude, it is so good to see you. So good to hear your voice. So good to feel your energy, man. Capper, we'll have you back on. And so, like playoff time, we're no Nets questions. Like we'll just be asking you about the playoffs and getting your opinion
regular basketball stuff.
on the
I
game
love
you
that.
love, man. On the game
I love
you
it.
love.
No, that would be great. That would be great. And don't be afraid. Somebody bails out. I come in a heartbeat. You know me. My schedule is wide
Love
open.
it.
See you later.
Thank you.
Cap, I'll definitely be in touch. Let's stay in touch, and
You
we'll
get to-
get you back on. We'll get you
You
back
get to
on.
New York at all, Dwight? You get to New York? Let me know.
He was just there.
I was just there.
This is right here.
Oh, great. That's how good of friends we are. You didn't even check in. Good job.
He's
Hold
got.
on.
see it.
Don't worry. But don't worry,
All
Cap.
right.
The next time,
All right, take care,
I'll be
guys.
back- I'll be
Bye-bye.
back soon. Later.
All right,
Thanks so
all
much,
right.
man. Thank you.
Thank you, Capper.
Bye-bye.
Love you,
Good to
man.
meet
You guys,
Love you.
he is the Rodney Dangerfield of coaches, man. Do I tell the jokes are non-stop, and the majority of them are on him. He busts his own balls endlessly. Did you hear what he said? I don't have any original thoughts. I just steal it from everybody. Are you kidding me right now? Dwight. He's a worker. He's a piece of work, man. Capper's a piece of
Listen,
work.
I'm so glad because that is who Cap is. That's his personality. It's genuine. He's a great basketball mind. If you ever listen to Cap during the Nets broadcasts, you will learn a thing or two. He says that he steals a lot of stuff, but he's an excellent basketball analyst. He understands the game as much as anybody that I know. I respect the knowledge. He is a fun listen, and he's a genuine good guy. That's why what he said today, and just having him on, he definitely added some flavor, some energy, some funny stuff. I was so glad he was on. And you know what? He would come on every day if we allowed him. That's how cool he is.
He is, man.
Love it.
And he's right. Like everybody used to be, because I didn't like tell Capper's secret for those EuroLeague broadcasts, because people be like, damn, Capper called it. How does he, like, he's Nostradamus with he's always like, he wasn't kidding. We always did an X Factor, and he's like, today it's going to be Theo Papaloukas. I just feel it. He's been playing well. And then, bam, he has a huge game, takes a game over, game-winning shot. It's like, Capper, you did it again. It became a bit, man. And we would just
Awesome.
wink at each other. And then me, like I said, I wanted to know nothing about the game because I didn't want to anticipate the big shot or the player. That is a play-by-play guy. You can't do that. You just see it, you call it. You see it, you call it. You know what I mean? And Capper's the exact opposite. He's got like 8 aces in the deck of cards. You know what I'm saying? But it was absolutely hilarious, man. Absolutely hilarious. I will never forget those times. By the way, not a bad little extra check for me and the Capper to do those EuroLeague games. That was on top of what we the NBA was like, yeah, and we want to pay you this for. When do we show up? 9:00 on Saturday morning. That's kind of a buzzkill, but I'm going to do it anyway. You know what I mean?
Hey, Rick.
Anyway.
I have a buzzkill for you. You dropped Cooper Flag, and he's playing today. Thank you.
So I did not want to do it. Where are we right now in the X-Rated Sports Network season? Round 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And how are you and AM doing right now? Let's get a little update here. How's your matchup
I'm
going?
winning right now 7-4, and Cooper Flag is playing, but a couple of my guys have randomly not played, like Kuminga and Jaylen Brown the first day of the week. But everybody's missing people.
But also, you've played 5 more guys than me, and for some reason it looks like you're going to end up with 48 starts to my 41 by the time this is all said and done. How am I supposed to keep up?
I don't think so. You just didn't check your rosters. I think it'll be the same. I think it'll be 41. But all in all, I think me getting Cooper Flag will help. But
Rick, what was up with that? You couldn't give me the heads up, Rick? You couldn't.
No,
couldn't send out a text. Hey guys, Flag's hitting the wire.
No, I think I dropped guys. I dropped Alex Sarr too. I dropped Sarr.
Yeah, but Cooper Flag is coming back. Cooper Flag is coming back.
But at the time, he was missing every game, And you guys got to understand.
Right now.
You got to understand.
Got to check the schedule.
No.
He's playing Boston. He's playing Boston in the next couple of days, so I knew he wasn't going to miss that game.
So it's when we're in the playoffs, I can't carry dead men. I refuse. Yeah. You know what I mean? I refuse to do it. I dropped Sar. Oh, by the way, I'm up 9-2 right now, but I'm not feeling good about it because the Bulls have entered full tank mode. Josh Giddey, questionable ankle. Matas Buzelis, questionable ankle. They are 2 heavy hitters on my team, dudes. And so I've got one move left, and I've got DeJounte Murray. I may have to boot. He's out tonight with an Achilles injury. So, what are you going to do here? And DeJounte, you know what? I'm not doing that again, especially in a league with 2 IL spots. Remember, I was like, I'm taking DeJounte and I'm going to whip him out at just the right time on you guys. I mean, and now he's not playing. He's playing like 23 minutes a game. I've waited all bleeping year for him to come back, and this is what I get. And now I'm never doing that again. I'm never jamming up an IL spot for 8 months and DeJounte, I love you, but that was a mistake.
Lessons learned.
I may have to bounce him. I did get this plucky little pickup, this guy that I love so much called Walter Clayton Jr. I love me some Walter Clayton Jr. All right, dudes. So we will give you, I guess on Monday, we'll give you the updates on what happens in the X-Rated Sports Network Fantasy Battle League. Guys, it is time for the beef of all beefs. This is a beef that started in New York City and went all the way down to New Orleans. This is a beef between one of the top sports media personalities in the history of humanity, Stephen A. Smith, Zion Williamson, who's had weight issues in the past, and the New Orleans Pelicans, whose social media team, if they don't win awards, they should, because year after year after year, they continually come up with dope, creative stuff, okay? Whether it's the beginning of the season, trolling, memeing, they're just really, really smart, and they got their thing on with Stephen A. Smith. So let's back up. This is Stephen A. Smith, I don't know, a couple of days ago, talking about Zion Williamson in a very unsavory way. Hit it.
Nothing was made up. The information that emanated about Zion Williamson, it came from inside the organization. It came from people even closer than that to Zion Williamson. I'm going to leave it at that. People that called up and encouraged us to get his ass because of some of the things that he was doing. You got people that are alcoholics. You got people that are drug addicts and stuff like that. What was Zion's problem? Food addict. The joke was everybody in New Orleans that cooked. It could be everybody from a restaurant, a chef, to your grandmama, all right? Anybody that cooked knew about Zion Williamson, and he knew them. They were on a first-name basis because that brother ate a lot, okay? You even had rumors, and literally, I'm here thinking it was a joke, and somebody told me to go on the air and point out how he got busted hiding food under his bed. This is the kind of stuff that was happening, okay? So why?
All right. Now, the Pelicans obviously heard this, and Jason Arambulo and Kai Josephson are going to show some of the images here. They're absolutely hilarious. All right, we'll have a laugh at them right now. My personal favorite was the one with Stephen A. Smith's picture superimposed on Wilt Chamberlain, holding up, where it said 100.
This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move, even though he's...
All right, so this is part of what the Pelicans sent out. There's his numbers, 1.5 points per game. That's the one that really like paralyzed me, man. 1.5. It's so good. All right, so then Stephen A. Smith like can't take the high road. And so then he went back on First Take and said this in response to Zion and specifically the Pelicans social media team.
Because I pointed out something about the star on your team and the franchise. And you want to use that as an opportunity to get at me. Very, very bad mistake on your part, because as a franchise, you don't have the credentials. You just don't. But before I even get into that, let me say this, and I want to say this because it's very, very important to the American people that you're watching. You left out a couple of other things. You saw me boxing with a rotator cuff over a decade ago. I looked like trash. You saw me throwing out the first pitch. That was a choke job on my part. Definitely a choke job, all right? You also showed that video. Did you notice that nothing's been deleted? You could scrape that stuff off of Google and stuff like that. Do you notice that no effort has been made? Because I own what I do. And I own what I can't do. And I own what I don't do. And that's the difference between me and y'all. You left something out. And you know what you left out? You left out the fact that I was in the 4th grade and I got left back because I had a 1st grade reading level. And here I am on national television after graduating from an HBCU, going up against Hall of Famers all the time who play professional sports, elite journalists in this business, and me coming from an HBCU is still doing what I'm doing. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but come April, First Take will have been #1 for 14 straight years. 14 straight years. In other words, we win. And on a personal level, did you remember, did you bring up how, I was in bad shape? Did you see that nasty video of me skinny with a pot belly, about 208 pounds, with a cholesterol level over 300, with body fat hovering around 30%? That is not how I look now. That is not how I feel now. I'm 58 years of age, feeling like I'm going on 30. I'm in the best health in my life. Hell, I might even take off a shirt for a scene on the soap operas. That's how good I'm looking. That's how good I'm feeling. That's my life. And at the age of 58, I'm ascending. I'm moving up.
All right. So we get it. We get it. I just don't think what the Pelicans did warrants the whole like inner glimpse at his life and weight loss. And I'm like kind of confused right now. Are we talking basketball? What are we doing? So
Right.
guys, I've obviously been setting this up and stuff. So I'll go last with my take on this. But this is a pick a side joint right here. This is a pick a side. Are you on the side of Stephen A. Smith for whatever reason, or are you on the side of Zion and the Pelicans for whatever reason? And I want to go to AM Pfeffer first on this one. What you think, AM?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely on the side of Stephen A. Smith. He's right. He's absolutely right. And from an entire organization, who the National Basketball Association organization or any organization in a league, to do what they do to come at him personally like that, that is nowhere near the same, the other side of the coin, when you actually have an opinionated show and he's coming after Zion Williamson the way that he is, talking about food, which again, the players who enter a league, whether they want it or not, they make they make an agreement effectively that their lives are now public, for better or for worse. And even though he himself is on television as part of the media and his life is public, it's like he said, he didn't scrape it. So if anybody wants to go back and look at that, they absolutely can. But is there a cause for the organization to come after him personally because they came after, quote unquote, one of their own the way they did it? No. This is not an apples to apples comparison. He, by the way, it's not like on the show, he and his team brought up all of these, specific moments of Zion eating at somebody's house or at a restaurant or doing the pictures. So what they did, was way out of line. It was funny in a lot of respects, but it was definitely way out of line. I'm clearly on the side of Stephen A. Smith here.
You're on mute, Rick.
Yeah, Rick, you're on mute.
Dang. So we do not have a 4-0 here, which I like. Let's go to Dr. X here. Dr. X, pick a side, SAS or Zion and the Pels?
I 100% agree with AM as well. And I just feel like, Stephen A. Smith was just responding to what they're doing. And ultimately speaking, he was just stating facts. So for them to get sensitive about a player that they know has the food issues, it wasn't like he was lying about it. They were stating facts that they heard from their camp and things of that nature. So they're responding to Stephen A, responding to factual information. And Zion came on ESPN saying that that wasn't true and things were kind of misconstrued and kind of twisted. So he's responding to that, and I think Stephen A has the right. If they want to get petty, he just decided to get petty. Who doesn't like to get petty? And he did it in his way. He has a platform. They have a platform, and he just said my platform is bigger than yours, and my platform will allow me to respond to this if you want to get petty. And he's a petty guy, so he's staying in character, and I don't mind that. He's a New Yorker, and you know what I'm saying. So we usually don't try to start any fights, but if someone wants to mess with us, we'll come back at them. And I felt like he responded to them in the kind of the same way that they came at him. So that's why he, was pretty much, if they want to get on him shooting, he's not paid to do that. The 1.5 points per game was actually false because he was injured and never actually played a game. So, it was a pretty long rant, but at least he addressed everything, and he also put us up on some stuff he's doing. He also shooting the ball better now because he has a shooting coach and things like that. So I'm not against it. I would say it's sitting a little below him to do it, but it was within his right to respond to him because he was stating facts and they went left and they got petty, and he was just kind of trying to put them in their position and in their place and say, hey, if you want to keep on getting petty, I have a lot more information where that came from. And all in all, you could do what you want to do. I mean, you could say anything you want to say, but I had the receipts and this is my life, and you guys are in no position to say what you are about me.
All right. Two very wise sports minds, Dwight Walton, have sided with Stephen A. Smith. Are you siding with Stephen A. Smith, Dwight Walton, or Zion and the Pelicans?
I'm on the completely different end of the stick on this one. Yes, because Stephen A. Smith and anybody are entitled to their opinions. They can be as petty as they want to be. And yes, they can speak however they want to speak. However, Zion Williamson's off-court issues have been well documented. This was Zion Williamson's first interview in 2 years. Malika Andrews and the NBA Today crew on ESPN reached out to Zion to have this interview. The interview was supposed to be a resurrection, if you will, of all the nonsense and we're all aware of what he has gone through, both with his weight, his personal life. Everything has been exposed. That's why we hadn't heard from Zion up until 2 days ago. And Rick, your former colleague on NBA radio, Antonio Daniels, feels the exact same way as I do. We're supposed to be celebrating what Zion has been doing. This has been the longest stretch of games in a row that he has played. He spoke about his personal trainer that is with him side by side every second of the day, making sure that he pays attention to the small details of what it is to maintain a healthy diet, to do whatever it takes to stay healthy so he can be on the basketball court. This is a young man that is maturing before our eyes. And he was vulnerable enough and courageous enough to do a very lengthy interview with Malika Andrews, who, by the way, was fantastic in showing empathy and just giving Zion the chance to speak his truth and the issues that he has gone through over the past several years leading up to this season. He's in a stretch to where he's playing close to 40 games in a row here. And we understand that availability is your best ability. And Zion hasn't given us any of that in the first 6-7 years of his career. That is understood. But leave that in the past. What I didn't like what Stephen A. Smith did, he basically said to the New Orleans Pelicans media department and to anybody else that was listening, my life is better than yours. You're not credible enough to speak against me because I'm better than you. That's how I took it. All right. I may have a different brain. My brain may be wired differently, but it
Can
seemed
we just
like
rewind
Stephen
for a
A.
second?
Huh?
What exactly did Stephen A. say that made the social media department of the Pelicans do that video? Because that's where we
Yeah.
start. What
It was
No,
the
exactly
food
because
addict.
did he say that
no,
was
It was
incorrect?
the
Zion,
food.
no,
It was the food addict thing.
Stephen A.
But that's
was
correct.
Stephen A. was responding to the Malika Andrews Zion Williamson interview.
Well, but
Instead
hold on
of
a
What's
coming
second,
wrong
on
with
Dwight.
there,
that though?
Dwight,
You
hold on a
you
second.
have an issue with hold
Yeah.
on, Am. You have an
Please go.
issue with you have an issue with his response to the social media team. Did you have an issue with what he said prior to the social media team? Because I think that's where the issue comes. Because if anything, the social media team took the attention off of Zion Williamson, their superstar, and made it about Stephen A. Smith. So they didn't recognize the moment, and they just dropped it and made it all about Stephen A. Smith. That was a social
Yeah.
media team, not Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is just talking about the facts. And actually everything you're saying, Dwight, is responding to the fact that Stephen A. Smith addressed the pettiness of the social media team, not what Stephen A. said.
No,
He didn't
but
say
no,
anything wrong
but
prior to
no,
that
but
video.
the interview was first. The interview was
Yeah, but
first.
I know
that's
that.
not.
And then Stephen A.
Is
said what he
that really
said
what
about
we're
the
responding
food.
to, though? Yeah.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
said
That's
what
the
he said
question.
about the
Like,
food. He
yeah,
didn't make a
Malika.
video about how he's better than and all the other stuff. You're getting the order
Yeah,
wrong.
this
Interview
isn't
with
Stephen A.
Malika.
Wright.
Hold on, Am. Hold
I'm
on.
sorry, please. Sorry, Doc.
Interview
Go
with
ahead.
Malika. Interview with Malika. After the interview with Malika was then Stephen A. saying everything he had to say about that with the factual information, may have said he was a food addict. After that, they got petty. They made it about Stephen A. Smith. It should have never went there. Like, that's their superstar. There's no reason for them to now put this video out there, and it just like totally took all attention away from that beautiful interview that Malika Andrews did.
No, but Stephen A's response is what forced the media department of the New Orleans Pelicans
His
to
response was
respond.
correct, though. Did you hear his response? What was his response to Malika's interview? There's nothing wrong with his response. He was restating the facts that everybody knew for the past 7 years that he had a food addiction. Good for him. They weren't
He
saying
did
anything
it. He
negative.
did it in a negative way. He did it in a negative way, Dwight. And I think that's where this is where this all goes kind of off the rails. Like, Malika Andrews did something special. Zion came out after a couple of years, and you're rightfully pointing out that, like, there's no reason to trash on Zion Williamson. No one's saying that Stephen A. Smith getting on after the fact and doing the way he did, what he said negatively, is correct. And that's just to be clear. I want to be clear. Like, if you're asking me which side I'm on, that's what I'm siding with. The idea of, like, I'm not siding with Stephen A. Smith of what he said about Zion Williamson. I'm siding with the response after the fact that the media department of the New Orleans Pelicans got petty, got ridiculous, and put all that stuff together against, an opinionated talk show host. Like, that's where we've entered. That's where this all comes from, right? Like, we all know who Stephen A. Smith is after 14 years, like he said. And then he goes on and explains to them, yeah, hey, guys, you don't really have a right to do that, and I am better than you, and here's why. And that's, just to be clear, that's what I'm siding with. I'm not trying to say what he necessarily said about Zion or the way he goes about his business is correct and all of that. I just want to be clear what I'm siding with. We've entered into a point now where the New Orleans Pelicans are putting together social media clips against Stephen A. Smith, again, that he says he's never taken off and didn't scrub out, and that's what exists. And that's where I'm coming from personally with this. And, I hear where you're going, Dwight, and all the wonderful things about Zion and what he's trying to do and the things Malika said. I think that's a separate argument.
So I'm getting the timeline correctly wrong. I mean, I'm getting it wrong. Like,
No, we're not addressing.
What is it that we're siding to? Like, Yeah, who
Yeah,
are we
what?
siding with Stephen A. Smith? Not because of necessarily what he said about Zion Williamson, but now the beef is with the New Orleans Pelicans, who made this a much bigger deal than they should have. And that's why I'm also siding with Stephen A. Smith. Like they then
Okay.
were able to
Well, I
shine a
think
light even more on what was said negatively about their superstar. Bad
So
move by
here,
the
so
New
here,
Orleans
so okay,
Pelicans.
so what I'm focusing on, if Stephen A goes on with Vincent Goodwill and Kendrick Perkins after the Malika interview with Zion and is positive, none of this happens.
what did he
That's what
say
I'm
wrong
saying.
during the Perkins thing? Name one thing he said wrong.
No, he didn't say anything wrong. Just leave it
Yeah.
alone. Is
No,
my
but
point.
why,
No,
why
but
should
that's
leave it
but
alone?
what do
What
you
did he
mean leave it
say
alone?
wrong
That's not great
in
TV.
response to
The dude's
Malika's
an
interview?
analyst on TV who start. This
I'm
is
actually
his
asking
shtick.
Rick, did what was Stephen A's response after the Malika interview? What was the response that was so bad that warranted a
Okay.
petty video?
I think Stephen A. Smith is big time out of bounds, alleging
Thank you. Yes.
that Zion Williamson is a food addict. You can't say that.
There was
And
no
if
need
you
to
say
it.
that, you're going to get backlash. And he can stand on it and have the support of bosses, and he can have great minds like you, Doc, agreeing and seeing no problem with it. I'm not like viciously offended. But at the same time, I can't believe he said that. And then,
Leave it alone.
Stephen A. Smith put so much hot sauce on stuff, and we love that about him. It's one of the secrets to his success. But when you allege, and that's the key word here, okay, is it factual? Has a doctor clinically diagnosed Zion Williamson as a food addict? I would bet everything, including my man parts, that has not happened. Okay, that is a speculative extrapolation by Stephen A. Smith. Clearly, Zion Williamson has had weight issues. Clearly, he has eaten too much. Clearly, he has not worked out enough. He has not taken this seriously enough. All of that is true. But to say he got busted with food under his bed, I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. And then here's the other thing, okay? And I'm not like going to hold a grudge against Stephen A. I like Stephen A. I'm friendly with him. We're just talking about this issue right here, okay, in a vacuum. I will not draw any conclusions or judge him no. I respect Stephen A. He's a GOAT. He's just, I like him, okay? He came on NBA radio a lot with me and Antonio. And I've known him for a long time. I want to make one more point here. Okay. And again, all of this is okay that we're disagreeing and that we're playing some tennis here. The New Orleans Pelicans social media team. Heck, I'm going to say every other social media team in the league, all 30. If a guy like Stephen A. Smith hammers your top player, okay, and whether it's inbounds or out of bounds is debatable, right? I think it's out of bounds. You guys think it's inbounds. That's cool. But they have to pull out tanks. They have to pull out, all of the war. It's a stupid analogy here. You get the point, though. You got to go big. What are you there for? They have a whole social media team. They have bosses. They have middle management. They have the people that do all the work. They have a whole social media team. I don't know. It's 5 people, 7 people, 8 people, whatever it is. Why are you going to employ those people and then have Stephen A. Smith literally nukeify your top player, and then you sit around and do nothing? The powers that be with the Pelicans would be like, are you guys going to do something? Oh, you're not? You're fired. We're going to get somebody in here who could. They had to respond to Stephen A. Smith in some kind of way. That's just my personal opinion on that. But you guys,
But is the way that they responded the right thing? Because that's the answer I'm trying to give to your question of who was right, who was wrong about.
I don't know what else you do, because, like, to me, again, Stephen A. Smith went way out of bounds with the Zion stuff. So you got to go big. You can't
I disagree, Rick.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I disagree with that big time.
And this is the reason why. First off, it's just food. how many times have we talked about addicts with weed, different drug issues, Paul George, not following the right advice about, taking a substance that's controlled. He's saying with information that he has from Zion sources, people close to Zion, that he could quote that he has an issue with food. It's known. It's a medical diagnosis. Some people have issues with eating too little food, and it's called bulimia or anorexia and things like that. So it's actually a public diagnosis that he's struggling with this even prior to even entering the league. So I don't have an issue with him responding to that just because he had a beautiful interview. He's just giving his spin on it, and I'm sure at the end of it, he was saying, you know what, I wish him well. I don't think he wished him bad. So I just don't see what the big uproar is.
I just think Stephen A. could have kept
food.
it positive. Again, what I'm
what was
harping
not
on.
positive about stating the facts?
But
This
here's
is talking about food.
Wait a minute.
No, I mean, look, he was satire.
Texas
He talked
wings.
about
Who
going. And
cares?
he's like everyone knows, everyone feeds Zion Williamson. He was making jokes, so he obviously
It
took
was
it into a
funny.
negative place.
Who
But
cares?
yeah,
Stop being
exactly.
so sensitive.
Right. That's TV.
Come
That's
on,
Stephen A.
guys.
Smith, and that's TV. The New
It
Orleans
was
Pelicans,
funny.
the
It was a
response that they
great
had,
joke.
yeah. Right, and whether you liked it or you didn't, or you're a fan of Stephen A. Smith or not, to me, I'm answering the question on the other side of this, okay? He did what he did, which, whether you agree with it or not, the way he went about it on TV, and Rick, you really put it in a great light as to exactly what he said and how he did it, fine. He probably shouldn't have done it, and maybe he overstepped the bounds. But the reality was the New Orleans Pelicans made a big mistake in the way they responded. And you might want to say the social media team comes guns blazing or everybody's fired. I don't agree with that. That was not the response. So Stephen A's response to that's what I'm answering was the right response. And he did the right thing because he has to maintain his position as the top guy on TV doing what he does. I'm looking at it from that lens.
If I'm totally misplacing the timeline, none of this happens if Stephen A. isn't negative the day after the interview. None of this happens.
But how was he negative? Did he wish him well after stating the facts? Like, yes, he had an issue, but he's over the issue. He's doing well. 35 games in a row. Yay for Zion. We hope he does well for the rest of his career. That's all he said. He was just confirming the fact that he had an issue. He's past the issue. He's doing better. And then, so what? Who cares? It's food, guys. Like,
Rick, do me a
he's still
favor.
Zion. He's still dunking
Doc,
on
you
people.
rock. Doc, you rock, man.
Rick.
I love it when Doc gets riled up, man. I love it.
Rick, do me a favor and reach out to Antonio about this and see how he feels about this.
Well, we already
Reach
know.
out to him.
No, I don't
Way
even
too
need to.
sensitive,
We already
guys.
know.
If we can't take conversations about food and people liking food, I think it's funny. He's a guy, he loves his food, but yet he's still a top athlete in the world. And he wasn't necessarily in the best shape because it was affecting his knees and things like that. But he still was a physical specimen even during all that issue. And they're probably not talking more about what exactly he did to slim down all the way. I don't think it's just straight up discipline. I'm sure there's other things involved with why he slimmed down. But the point of the matter, let's just be happy that he's doing better. But the facts are the facts. We can't ignore it and brush it under the rug that he had these issues for 7 years and hardly played any games. So he was just saying factual information that he knew from people in his camp. It is what it is. Who cares?
Here's what would have killed all of this. If Stephen A. Smith said everything he said without the hot sauce, if he said, weight issues, he was eating too much, without like making it a joke.
We all eat too much. It's funny.
I
like
get
this.
it. I'm just saying, like, to me, that's inbounds. But when you allege that a guy is a food addict, whether it's factual or spin off of intel that you've gotten, and you're kind of making those words up because you're on TV and you're on a huge platform, and this is kind of what you do. We got to keep that in mind too. This is showbiz. But it's also journalism. And I think Stephen A. Smith left journalism behind for just a second. And again, I'm not super mad at him. I just disagree with calling a guy a food addict, and then like kind of turning it into a cartoonish skit talking about food under the bed, and he got busted. Okay. Who busted him? Was it the team? Was it who busted him? Like, what's that story look like? I don't even believe that. I don't believe that he got caught with food under his bed. He's Zion Williamson. He can have food wherever and whenever the hell he wants. Right? Did the team create some kind of rule where he can only eat this much? And so he's like stealing ho-hos behind a door in the bathroom? Yeah. What are we doing here?
There was another show that showed another player. There was like a camp that they would go to prevent certain people from eating certain things. And I think it was an NFL player or something like that. Or I'm not sure the actual player, but ultimately there was a room that he had access to that was getting all these snacks. It was another player. And it was actually, we heard that story. What are you guys talking about? It was Lionel Hollins. Lionel Hollins told us that story about that camp where someone didn't meet him at a certain place.
Oh, it was Oliver Miller. It was Oliver Miller.
Yes. So I'm trying to say that's like real stuff. And then he got the key to the pantry and he had all the snacks. It's a thing. It's what it is. The point is that everybody was there trying to help Zion. They didn't give up on Zion. Zion has now turned the corner. It's a beautiful story that will help someone else that has an issue like Zion. And I think everybody's getting caught up in the word addict because they think it sounds just as bad as the other type of addicts or people die and all that stuff. But it's not that bad. It's just another word. And in context, it's a beautiful story and you could just laugh at it. And you know what? Stephen A had fun pointing and laughing at himself about him. You know, I threw a bad pitch. I wasn't the best reader, but look where I am today. And that's what he was trying to say. It's like it's not about the snapshot of the story. It's about the entirety of the story. And we're very happy for Zion. But these are the facts. And as a reporter, I'm not going to ignore the facts. That's all he was saying. And they got caught up in it. They got petty. So he was like, the nerve of you guys as a franchise that have nothing to show for anything in this time. So I'm going to go get petty with you guys. You guys don't have the ground to stand on. If it was the Celtics or another accomplished franchise, maybe he wouldn't have been as demonstrative with this comeback. But to me, I just think is like, you know, you decide to get petty and keep it fun.
This is an all-timer right here. This is an all-timer right here, man. So this one's 2-2. This I'm siding, as you can probably tell, with Zion and the Pelicans here. This is kind of uncharted ground. Like I'm siding with Zion on the Pelicans. I don't know if I've ever done that, but I have now. But anyway, look again. We all got love for Stephen A. Smith here, man. You know, we're just kind of nitpicking, and but it's a good debate, man. Whenever we get a 2-2 joint, it's a good debate. It is rant time, guys. It is rant time. I'm going to get us started here. And let me head down here. I want to talk about the unrivaled league, okay? The women's basketball, the alternative league that was started by Nafisa Collier and Dwight, you may know. Was Briana the other one that started it? I know Nafisa Collier.
Briana Stewart.
And it was Briana. Okay. So, so they started this league. The championship game was last night. So shout out to Unrivaled. They pinnacled last night with their championship game. Okay. It was aired on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. Okay. Big time. Briana Stewart in the Mist beat Kelsey Plum and the Phantom. Another freaking title for Briana Stewart. And those who really know women's basketball are not going to bristle at the comment that I'm about to make. Briana Stewart might be the GOAT of all. She might be the GOAT of all, okay? I said might be, right? It's very debatable who's the GOAT of women's basketball. Briana Stewart has 4 NCAA championships. 4. That as in faux, okay? Didn't lose. I think she lost 1 game at UConn. Something insane like that. 2 EuroLeague championships, big deal. 3 WNBA titles, maybe more, and 1 unrivaled title. That's 10 rings. 10. That's insane. Okay. And the stats are incredible.
How many gold medals, Rick?
I don't know. but it's probably 3 or 4, something like that. Maybe because she's 31, maybe only like 3. But that's a good question, Dwight. So Briana Stewart's 31 years old. So I just wanted to like shine the light on her for a minute. Another championship. Briana, we love you out here, man. What a player. She reminds me of Kevin Durant. Like when I watch, she does everything, right? And she's long and she's got pull-up games. She's got back to the basket game. She defends. She passes. She's like Durant. She just does everything at a high level. Love you. But you know what? I love Kelsey Plum more. My homie Kelsey Plum dropped 4D on these ladies last night. 4D, okay? Not 4T, 4D, okay? I love her. She's so damn competitive. Please do not compare Kelsey Plum to Caitlin Clark right now. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can do it like who's bigger for the league and all that kind of stuff. Caitlin Clark is bigger for the league than Kelsey Plum in terms of money and all that kind of stuff and attention. Kelsey Plum is way higher on the food chain than Caitlin Clark right now. Wait till the W season gets going here, and if Caitlin Clark starts missing games, oh, your boy is going to lose it. Okay? Anyway, the winning side last night, guys, took home $600,000. Kathy Engelbert. Never mind. All right. Unrivaled made $1 million for the 2 semifinal games like 3 nights ago at Barclays. Okay, back-to-back semifinal games, $1 million in like revenue or like draw or whatever that number was. Anyway, they're doing well. Guys, all 3 games sold out. That's like 18,500 people, okay? And that's not the WNBA. That's not college basketball. That's unrivaled. It's essentially an exhibition league, okay? All 3 games, sellouts in New York City, and there's a lot to do and a lot of competition for your entertainment dollar in New York City. The WNBA has set a March 10th deadline, or the May 8th start date of the dub season may need to be delayed. Guys, they still have to have a draft. They still have to have an expansion draft, and they still have to have free agency for over 100 players. The WNBA is so screwed. I don't think I've ever seen a league as screwed as the WNBA right now. I just don't see how they're going to be able to iron out all of these wrinkles in time. I fully expect a lockout and perhaps no season for the WNBA. I do not, will not, and cannot believe that the WNBA doesn't make enough money to give these ladies a massive pay raise and give them a much bigger slice of the BRI pie. I don't believe it. They're lies, they're non-truths designed to spread this conspiracy theory, okay, that they don't have any money, which will have a big faction of the United States population going, man, they don't make any money. They can't pay those girls. And I hear this all the time. And these are completely uneducated sports fans who just take some lame take that they heard 15 years ago and they regurgitate it now like it's fact. It's not, okay? That 15 years ago, the WNBA was like an underground rock band that 5 people went to see on a Tuesday night, okay? Now it's on the main stage. They're playing House of Blues. They're playing Tabernacle. They're playing arenas. That's where they are as a band right now, okay? But the leaders still want to pay them like that garage band, all right, working for a $250 check at some dive bar, all right? It's ridiculous. Gets me triggered here, okay? How could you be losing money when your games are at the network level? How could you be losing money when just about every arena I see is full? When you have been on top and in control for decades, this is where sports meets humanity. When you've been on top and in control for, like the WNBA has been over their players, you hold on for dear life when that arrangement is in jeopardy and about to end. And that's what's happening right now. Okay, you've got the old guard, they don't want to give it up, and the young guard is pissed. And the old guard is pissed. Okay, the old guard is pissed, guys, because they finally have to deal the players in. They don't want to. Okay, they have to form a collaboration, a partnership with the players, like the NBA owners had to. Okay, guess what? They don't want to do that. They don't want to invite the WNBA players to the boardroom. 2 of the top players in the league were complaining recently that the Players Association was not consulting enough with the players. Not the league, but the Players Association. Again, this is a disaster and a catastrophe at every level. This is power, control, and greed at its finest. I implore the players, do not cave to a bad deal and lock yourselves in for another decade or 7 years with numbers you hate. Don't do that. WNBA players have to fight this right now with all they got. The only leverage they have is their services and their likenesses. Okay? That's all they have right now. But without those, there's no WNBA. Okay? The owners are calling the players bluff right now. Oh, I know they're playing this game, but they're going to cave like they always do. At the 11th hour, they're going to come in and they're going to sign the deal and we're going to move on and everything. That's what the leaders are saying right now. Okay? WNBA players, you know, that's what they're saying about you right now. They'll cave. The rank and file will win over the star ladies and say, you know, I need that 50 grand, that 60 grand, like to feed my family and stuff. And they're betting on that. They're calling the players bluff right now. The players can't give in. They can't. They have to fight this to the point of losing a WNBA season. And I know this is not my money, okay? But I am here for the rise of women's basketball. I'm here for girl power, okay? I like it. I think it should have been this way a long freaking time ago, okay? I'm kind of like, where y'all been, right? But this is where we are right now. And I just, guys, I'm really bummed out because I don't think this story is going to have a good ending. But of course I wanted to, and that's my rant. Let's go to Dr. X. Dr. X, what do you want to get off your chest, my friend?
Man, I believe the scouting report is out for Mr. Cade Cunningham. And I'm curious to see if he's going to get out of the dungeon of the castle. I'm looking forward to this matchup tonight with Castle guarding Cade Cunningham, 94 feet. Beef Stew is back. Duran is playing. Both teams have seen each other. Now they're both full strength. There's something on the line. But I'm really curious to see how Cade Cunningham responds. I think he's a great player. I think he's had a great season. But it seems like there have been two games that are standing out to a lot of people that if you put a tough-nosed defender that's strong, that's built well, doesn't back down, has strong mentality, can also shoot the rock, also can drive, it's going to give Cade some issues. He had an issue with Jalen Tyson last game against the Cavaliers. He only had 10 points. Jalen Tyson had 20-something points, hit a myriad of threes. He outplayed Cade Cunningham in terms of scoring and defense, and Cade couldn't respond in terms of point production, but he did have a lot of assists. And I just want to see where the Detroit Pistons, how they're going to respond if Cade is having to battle through all of that, and who's going to step up for the Pistons tonight. Also want to see if Wemby can kind of break through his little quote-unquote slump, because his numbers at the end of the game don't suggest a slump, but the eye test suggests that there's a little bit of a slump in terms of his dominance in the beginning of the season, where he was just dunking over everybody. He was asserting his will down low, as well as mixing it up a little bit from out deep. So want to see how, if Wemby will return to form of the first week of the NBA, and how well the Spurs and Pistons matchup will seem to be. So I'm really excited about tonight.
All right, couple of things here. I'm going to go to AM, and then Dwight, you're going to bring us home with our rants. Dwight, you asked a question: how many gold medals for Briana Stewart? I looked it up. I was right. It's 3. That's Olympic gold medals. She also has 3 FIBA World Cup gold medals. Dude, you need a full house for her trophies and accolades and awards. It's ridiculous. I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, man. Anyway, all right, AM, you are up, my friend. And what's your rant?
I want to talk about something that I think is ridiculously cool. Today's March 5th. I am putting in pencil, not pen just yet, but I'm penciling in May 23rd, and I advise my fellow panel and everybody else watching to do the same. What is happening on May 23rd? It's what's known as the richest game in football. It is the EFL championship game to see who gets to go into the Premier League. Guys, I don't know anything about soccer. I'm the first to admit that. I'm not a huge soccer fan. I have no idea what's going on the other side of the pond, but I do know this Wrexham story has legs, and it is truly the coolest thing going in sports. Sports are made to make us feel something, to swell every ventricle and aorta in our hearts and get excited. Like, I get kind of like emotional and like a little bit weepy thinking about what's going on with Wrexham. It is that cool. If you don't know the story, and I'm sure at this point you do, obviously, they've kicked it up the last 3 years in a row, unheard of, sweeping up through the leagues. And now, right now, they sit in 6th place in the EFL championship. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. The top 2 teams automatically go on back into the Premier League, and then teams 3, 4, 5, and 6 play in semifinals. And then ultimately, the final, the richest game in football, on May 23rd in Wembley Stadium in London in front of 90,000 people. Okay, they call it the richest game in football because there's $200 to $300 million at stake. That's how major it is to move up into the Premier League. That's the revenue that's coming your way over the next couple of years if this happens. Yo, do you know, again, how ridiculous what's going on is? And I understand, you've owned by Hollywood, money has been thrown at this, but still, every move that had to be made, every calculated idea as to where this is, bringing Wrexham back, bringing the city back to life, bringing the fans back to life. And I'm sorry to every other team that's looking at this, you know, who are still stuck in the 5th league or the 3rd league and wishing that they were Wrexham. But hey, Wrexham is Wrexham. This is the 3rd oldest club in England. Okay, they have the oldest stadium in all of England. This is a cool story. Now, again, who knows if on May 23rd, the currently 6th place team is even going to play for that final and get moved up. But there are 11 games left in the AFL championship season. They might end up top 1 or 2 and not even have to play. They might fall out of the top 6 and not make it into this 3, 4, 5, 6 tourney to move up. But as of right now, that's why I'm putting it in pencil. It is so cool. We should all be watching from here on out and paying a lot more attention from here on out. If you haven't watched the show, go back and watch the Wrexham shows, especially, because both sides of the equation, I'm talking about the men's team and the women's team. It's an incredible story. It's very fun. It's often funny. It's heartwarming as well. It's amazing. This is like, we watch sports. We care about sports for stories like these. I'm rooting for these guys. If they get up to the Premier League, forget it, man. This will end up being the coolest story of the century. That's where I'm at with this.
AM has been taking us in a variety of directions today. He really has. He's been zigging, zagging, and all that jazz. I like that story a lot, my friend. I did not know any of that, so you opened my eyes to all of that. Dwight Walton, bring us home, big fella.
I want to talk to all my fellow Dallas Cowboys fans. Jerry Jones, his son Stephen Jones, they're finally taking us, I believe, in the right direction. What do I mean by that? They don't want to dominate the headlines for the entire summer. They are doing their work early, and I love it. They signed Javonte Williams, who had a breakout year last year as a running back, to a 3-year contract. They signed George Pickens to a franchise tag deal. Let's see if that works out to a larger deal come July when the Cowboys can fully negotiate with Pickens. They've restructured the contracts of Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, opening up over $65 million in cap space. That just tells me, yes, they've covered the offensive side of the football where the Cowboys don't have any issues. They understand that they're going to draft defensive players. They're going to sign a couple of defensive players in free agency. They know what side of the ball was historically bad last season. You can only do so much when you're scoring 30 points a game if you're giving up 32 points per game. That's where the Cowboys were last year. And I appreciate what the Cowboys are doing. Jerry Jones is on record saying we are going to be in the free agent business. Trey Hendrickson is going to be a free agent from the Cincinnati Bengals. I am sure that's a main target for the Cowboys. They've hired a new defensive coordinator in Christian Parker, who hopefully is the complete opposite to last year's defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus. I know Max Crosby has spoken of his displeasure with the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's see if they can iron things out over there. But I would love for the Cowboys to sign Henderson as a free agent and somehow use some of their draft capital to acquire Max Crosby to go along with the interior linemen that they acquired at last year's trade deadline. I like how the Cowboys feel. There is hope in Cowboys Nation. We haven't gotten to the NFC Championship game since 1995. I am old enough to have seen championships, so I am not really at the end of my rope. But of course, in recent memory, we haven't been successful at all. I like what the Cowboys are doing. I hope it continues. I know that Jerry Jones will somehow try to keep the Cowboys in the narrative in the media world over the course of the offseason, but I like what the Cowboys are doing right now. They are doing their business early rather than later, especially on the defense side of the football, because they know if they can be competent defensively, if they can be average defensively, they will compete in the NFC and possibly for the first time since 1995, at the very least, get to the NFC Championship game.
I don't want to spoil the suspense. I can tell you right now, there will be no long-term deal between George Pickens and the Cowboys. They have jammed him up with the tag. Jerry's loath to pay everybody. CD waited forever. Dak waited forever. So I don't think George is getting his money. I saw a report online, Dwight. George Pickens crashed out when he found out he got the franchise tag placed on him. Players hate the franchise tag. Owners love the franchise tag. We are out of time, ladies and gentlemen. We love you. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the X-Rated Sports Network YouTube channel. Big thanks to Tim Capstraw for spending a bunch of time with us here today. We really appreciate him. Huge shout out to Jason Arambulo and Kai Josephson behind the glass. They are awesome. Big shout out to Dr. X. Big shout out to Dwight Walton. Big shout out to A.M. Pfeffer. And a little shout out to me, Rick Kamla. We are Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. And we will see you again Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great weekend, everybody. X and out.